Welcome, everybody, to the Cotuit Kettlers pregame show on our Kettlers Broadcast Network. I'm sorry, that's the Kets Broadcast Network. Alongside me, Ben Fisher, I'm Zach Kaplan. The Kettlers taking on the Bourne Braves tonight in a crucial match, crucial game that is, for the Western Division as it lies. Right now, the Kettlers and the Braves battling back and forth for that fourth spot, that fourth and final playoff spot. And it's going to come down to these last 4 games or so as the stretch comes to an end. It's a good effort by Max Kern, but nothing can rattle us here on this pregame show. How you doing so far, Ben Fisher?
I'm doing pretty well. We're professionals, and I'd like to, in the vein of people off screen, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to our assistant GM, Dan Fortier. Happy birthday, Dan.
Yep, happy birthday. An absolute lack of professionalism trying to throw the ball in the shot, but we're going to just keep the ball rolling here. That's kind of what the Kettlers have done as well last night. A really interesting and just downright bizarre baseball game, if you want to call it that, in Chatham. Only went 5.5 innings, so just meeting the minimum qualifications to be called a baseball game. But nonetheless, that's how it went. Kettlers with a 15-5 win over the Anglers. One of their best, probably their best offensive performance of the season, just erupting for 7 runs in that 4th inning. That was an abomination for the Chatham fielders. 3 errors in a half inning. I can't tell you the last time I've seen that in a half inning. I'm sure you could say the same. But there was plenty of good, and a lot of it, you know, and I feel like it's not going to get talked about, came off the right arm of Griffin McClarty. Came in 4 1/3 scoreless after a tough start for Addison Moss.
Certainly, and to keep them in that game after giving up 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning for Moss, he wasn't even terrible. He was just sort of, they were hitting his pitches. He was hitting his spots, and Chatham's a good offensive team, and they were hitting him. But for McClarty to come in, get that last out of the 1st inning, which was very important to keep them at 5, I think if they kept that offense going, you might have a different game. They might have been able to take the Kettlers out of it. But McClarty, he kept the Kets in it. He came in, he got that last out, and then he threw 4 just tremendous innings that let the offense come out and do their job. And I think the most important inning we were talking about with the Kettlers traveling mafia. We had us, Mike Siegel, Pete Flaherty. We were talking about after they hung up that 5 in the top of the 2nd inning, we said you got to hang up a 0 here. And there have been so many innings this year that we've talked about, you got to hang up a 0 here. When we've closed games, when we've maybe broken games open, where it's the Cats have got to hang a 0 here, and they haven't. And McClarty came out, and he had 4 innings where it was key that he hung a 0, and he did. And he allowed the offense, rightfully, 15 runs and 6 innings of offense. They're going to get talked about. But McClarty came out, and he gave that team exactly what they needed, picking up a new teammate, but still a teammate that he picked up in Addison Moss.
Absolutely, a brand new teammate. There's been a few transactions in the last few days. We're going to talk about those in just a second. So 15 runs there, and they're back to 500, the Kets are, and this division race seems to be shaping up. Again, it's them and Bourne. 3 games left between the 2 teams alone, 2 of which are going to happen in the next few days here. one each at Durant Park, one at Durant Park coming up next weekend, and then 2 at Lowell Park in the next 3 days. One of these a makeup, one of these actually in the schedule, a scheduled off day. So many of those have been taken away from the Cats. But just got to play the schedule as it lies, as we once learned from Shooter McGavin back in 1996. Let's talk about some transactions here for the Kettleers. It's been 4 players that are not walking through that door the rest of the way, and all 4 of them, or 3 of them that is, are pitchers. 1 in the field, Thomas Dillard, going back to Oxford, going to train with Ole Miss before he gets into the fall ball. As he starts next year, Matthew Gaudier took a ground ball line drive, I guess, off the foot, so he's being reevaluated. In the meantime, he's left the Cape, so the Cats filling his roster spot as well. Anthony Veneziano and Bryce Bond, and also being released as well. The additions of Addison Moss, who started yesterday, wasn't his finest hour from Rice, but hopefully we'll get back into it his next start. You can imagine it's going to come sooner rather than later. Coach Roberts, after yesterday's game, talking about how this is going to be an arm that they look to coming down the stretch. Trey Holland as well from Sewanee, which is the College of the South. If you didn't know, it's in Tennessee. It's amazing anytime you have a school you have to say where it is, but it's right smack dab in the middle of Tennessee there. So the College of the South, Sewanee. Trey Holland, a left-handed pitcher from there. He's been added to this roster as well. So these 2 arms, expect them to be a little bit relied upon down the stretch, but it sort of remains to be seen just how hard they'll be relied upon.
Yeah, definitely. There's a reason that there's 2 flip sides to this. There's a reason that they ended up in the Cape. They're obviously they're primo arms, even though Holland, from Sewanee.
Sewanee. We're going Sewanee.
We're going Sewanee. All right. He's from Sewanee. Obviously, when you put him up against guys who are from the UCLAs, the Arizona States of the world, he looks like he could be overmatched. So there's a reason he got added this late, and no team picked him up for opening day. But also on the flip side of that, there's a reason that he was brought up here, because this coaching staff, and it's a solid coaching staff. They're good evaluators of talent. They're good developers of talent here in Cotuit. And there's a reason they thought these 2 guys were worth picking up at the end of the season. Obviously, they haven't been any Cape League team's first choice, but you can't always have your first choice. And this team has seen that we've picked up guys that we didn't originally envision contributing, and they've turned out great. Zack Biermann was not originally on the roster. He's been tremendous.
Robertson was not even a permanent player, and now we're going to talk about the lineup soon, but he's in the leadoff spot today.
That's a great call. Will Robertson has been just tremendous. He's been, I would say, you could argue he's done the most for his stock out of anybody on this team, and he wasn't a permanent player to start. So I think overlooking these guys is a mistake, but I also think putting too much blind faith in them right at the beginning is a mistake. So I think sort of moderation and seeing, not relying on anything too much before you've seen them, and really rely on what you've seen so far, and see how often and in what kind of situations you want to go back to these 2 guys, starting or out of the bullpen.
Let's talk about that Cotuit lineup, and believe it or not, by a divine miracle of all miracles, this is the first time all season they've used the same lineup in back-to-back games. So count your lucky stars, cash your lottery tickets, what have you. It's the first time. The very first time. And the lineup goes as follows. It's Will Robertson leading off, playing right field, followed by Zack Biermann, the designated hitter, in the 2 spot. Garrett Wolfe back in there in the 3 spot, catching today for Zane Collins, who we'll talk about in just a little bit. Michael Tolia in the cleanup spot, playing first base. The big grand slam from him yesterday. See if that can get him going as he tries to inch towards that Mendoza line. Duke Ellis in the 5 spot, playing center field. Corey Wood in the 6 spot at second. Salvatore, his middle infield teammate, at shortstop, batting 7th. Brady Smith going to the left side of the infield, batting 8th, playing 3rd, and rounding things out, Peyton Burdick in left field from Wright State in the 9th spot, all for Zane Collins, who's on the mound. Collins had a nice start the last time he came out in Harwich. He really kept the Kettleers in that game, the Kets that is, and just sort of made the game competitive, and it ended up being a tie, which was, no decision there, but it was still, he had good stuff, and he went 5 innings for the Cats, and couldn't have asked much more of him from that. They'll need that again tonight if they want to knock off Bourne and go nearly 6 points clear of the Braves.
Yeah, definitely. Zane Collins is a guy I'd love to have on the mound really in any situation. Coach Roberts always loves to talk about guys who compete, and Zane Collins goes out there and competes. I think just sort of we've gotten to know him pretty well, and he's in addition to being a great guy, I have never once seen him phased. I'll see him on the days he's not starting. He's engaged in the game, but he's loose. When he gets out on the mound, he sort of cranks up the intensity a notch, but he doesn't let anything get into his own head. I've never seen him looking down on the mound, looking like he's lost composure, looking out of his element. And that velocity is inched back up, which I know has to feel good. He was starting the season excited to touch 84. He was touching 88 his last time out, and that velocity coming up. And if he can keep that velocity moving up and not lose that sink action, that's huge for him. So I think he's definitely a guy for a big game like this with a lot of division ramifications. He's a good guy to be thrown at.
We're going to talk about those ramifications in just a few moments, but first let's talk about the Bourne Braves who come in 15-19-1 on the season with 31 points. It's the basement of the West Division, but they're right on the tails of the Kettleers. A win today puts them 2 points back of the Cats for that final playoff spot in the West. Let's talk about their lineup today. Harvey Shapiro putting out the following 9. Zach Peak on the mound. We'll start with him, of course. Zach Peak from Winthrop. So not your typical baseball school, but he's out there. We're going to talk about his repertoire in a second. Tyler Fitzgerald leads off, plays second today. Anthony Prado in the 2 spot playing shortstop. Jared Triolo batting third, playing third. Spencer Brickhouse, the All-Star Game co-MVP in the cleanup spot, playing first base. Lyle Lynn doing the catching for Peak in the 5 spot. Ashton Bardzell batting 6, playing center. David Langer in the 7 spot, playing left. Jake Garella in the 8 spot in right. And in the 9 spot, a late all-name team finalist, I would argue, Danny DiGregorio, the shortstop. He's from Staten Island, and every bit of it from what the Bourne broadcasters were telling us before the game. So that's the lineup they're putting out there, and this Bourne team, going to be honest with you, Ben, they're kind of going through the motions during the pregame. It was kind of an interesting display of a team that still is in the playoff race, but doesn't really seem like it when you kind of look at them.
Yeah, they don't jump out at you in any way. I was looking over the statistics, sitting up in the press box before they got here, and none of the statistics jump out. They're sort of from 4th to 8th in most statistical categories, and I said, well, maybe I'll see something about it when they get out on the field. And yeah, like you said, they just they don't look like a very cohesive team yet. They look they look like an all-star team, which is sort of what the Cape League is. It's a compilation of great players from all over the countries. But normally they come together, and you see guys with intensity, sort of working hard, knowing that this is a league where winning and performing well can do incredible things for them. And they're sort of they're moving through like it's an all-star game. There doesn't appear to be a ton of intensity or cohesion, and they have the talent. I mean, yeah, you said all-star game MVP. Brickhouse and Triolo both have been tearing the cover off the ball when they've been on this season, and they've been on a fair amount. But they don't. This as a team. They don't come together as a team to make anything really impressive, and they haven't yet become what I think the sum of their parts can be.
Yeah, that about accurately describes it. With that said, though, their record, not an accurate interpretation of how they played against the Kettleers so far this year. 2-1. The Kettleers got a close win at Durant Park earlier this season, but the Cats are 0-1 here at Lowell Park against the Braves. So looking for their second win here to try and even the season series. They've sort of had their numbers so far, but you could argue Bourne, it seemed like, was a little more invested and maybe perhaps a little more physically in the playoff race the last time these two teams met a few weeks ago.
Yeah, to drop the way they've dropped, losing 2 of 10, it's a snowball effect because you lose a couple, and then you're slogging, you're taking long bus rides across the Cape. They're not the worst summer league, but still driving 55 minutes in an unair-conditioned bus to Orleans or to Brewster, and then to lose that game. It just sort of it becomes more and more of a slog, and then as you get more into that slog, even if you're trying to pick up the intensity physically, you're not there anymore. You lose your legs. If you're a pitcher, you're not having your best stuff, and then you're not playing your best, and you're losing more games, and it snowballs. So I think that 2-8 is certainly, it's not every single game they come out and they play badly. It's they play badly one game, they try to pick it up the next game, but they're one game further behind the schedule where they want to be. So I think it's really tough, and it makes games like this where they can pick up important ground in the playoff race so important because they can pick up the points, they can pick up the momentum, and they can maybe pick up some confidence, which I think would be incredibly important for a team that's 2 of their last 10.
Yeah, they need it badly in more ways than one as they head into tonight's game with the Cats. It's a camp night here, as you can see to our right probably. A lot of kids here, a lot of fans here. The dugout mauled basically by parents, kids alike. So definitely you can feel the atmosphere a little bit of this building up to be a pretty big game, one where the Kettleers can go 6 points clear of Bourne. Again, that theme is so important because to have a 3-game gap on anybody in this league seems insurmountable, especially with less than 10 games left, which is the case. Coming off of Sunday's All-Star game and yesterday's win over Chatham for the Cats. Bourne had the day off, But here's how the standings look coming into today. YD getting a big win in Hartford, Connecticut earlier today, 5-0 over Wareham. Puts them up to 48 points on the season, 22, 11, and 4. Again, the highest mark in the Cape League. 6 points clear of Hyannis for the Cape League equivalent of the hockey's President's Trophy. Of course, that's known as a curse. It's interesting, actually. A quick side note here. The President's Trophy in hockey is considered a curse, that it's impossible to win the Stanley Cup if you have it. Similar things can be said for the number 1 overall seed in the Cape League. It has not happened since the current format where the top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs. It has not happened that the number 1 overall team has won the Cape League title. So pretty interesting. It definitely speaks to the parity of the league, but pretty wild that that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, you can look. You don't really need to look at any league history pages. All you have to do is go back in your memory 1 year and look at Brewster coming in at 500 and making a run for the championship. This league, and Coach Roberts has talked about it and we've talked about it, every single team has talent. Every single team has the talent to beat any other team in this league on any given day. If they come out and get a good performance from their arms, you get a day like yesterday where you hit 2 home runs and hit about 5 balls off the wall. So it's writing off any team can be tricky. So I think calling it a curse might attribute a little bit too much supernatural influence on summer baseball. But it's certainly it's incredibly interesting, and it speaks to the parity and to the depth of talent that we get to see every day here in the Cape League.
So now this going deep into the standings here. YD 48 points. They're clear. It seems like they're pretty much. It would take an ungodly collapse. They already clinched a playoff spot, but even the clinch to lose the division would be something unforeseen at this point. With Chatham 10 points back after yesterday's loss at 38 points, but it seems like Chatham now 4 points up on Harwich with 34. Seems like they kind of have that 2 spot locked up in the East. It would, again, the 2 games there, but with 9 games left for most teams, anywhere between 9 to 11 games left for just about every team. It's going to be a tough deficit to make up for Harwich, who's pretty much locked into that 3 spot. They're 9 points clear of Orleans, and we got to talk about this for a second. The Brewster Whitecaps, folks, don't look. We've dismissed them, and they're going to make us look really dumb if they can come all the way back and overtake Orleans for this final playoff spot. The lead is now at 2. 2 points separate the Firebirds and the Whitecaps in the East Division, so the drama's certainly building there as Orleans, they've lost 5 straight now, and Brewster seems like they're in prime position to really sneak in, shock Jamie Shevchik, their coach, along with the entire rest of the Cape League, with a potential appearance in the Cape League playoffs, trying to defend their title.
Yeah, and we got, when we were in Chatham last night, we got a visit from our good friends on the Orleans media team, and they just seemed in disbelief that they were still competing for a playoff spot. To drop 5 in a row is obviously a shock, but to look up at those standings, because I think, and I can't speak for Orleans, but I think if I was Orleans, I would have sort of been in this mindset of, okay, we're chasing Harwich, but we're so clear of Brewster. We're so much better than they are. We've played so much better. We're gonna play so much better. We're gonna even improve and just move to another level from them. Then to look back and they're 2 points behind you and you've lost 5 in a row, it's incredible. And they didn't even seem. It was sort of like watching Marshawn Lynch walk in after the Malcolm Butler interception. He was just smiling and shaking his head of, oh man, I can't believe what's going on right now. So yeah, it's got to be frustrating for Orleans. I mean, the media guys, they're not on the field getting beat 5 nights in a row, but they're invested as we are in our team. And I think if Orleans misses the playoffs, and they're the only team that I think Brewster could catch, and if Brewster catches them and takes them out of the playoffs, that's going to be a tough one to live down if you're those players and those coaches, because Brewster gave you every opportunity to pull away, especially early in the season, and to not take it is really criminal.
It would be pretty shocking for Kelly Nicholson and company if the Firebirds can't hold on to that 4th playoff spot. But tonight's games, we'll go through them in a second to sort of see how things might shake out as a result. But looking at the West Division now, it's a race at the top here with Hyannis and Wareham. Wareham losers today in Hartford. The game was played earlier this afternoon. So a big chance here for Hyannis to go 3 points up tonight if they get a win. Hyannis at 42 coming into today's games. Wareham at 41. They don't gain anything out of their trip to Connecticut. Right behind them is Falmouth. So, again, the Commodores, you could argue, an outside shot at that number 1 seed in the West Division. Falmouth seems like they're heating up at the right time. They've been pretty hot lately, but still within range of the Kettleers, who are at 35 points in that 4th spot. So, you know, we look at it now. There's a home and home with Falmouth and Cotuit late next week. If the Kets can stay within 4 points, could take it all right in a home and home right there, and that would be a big head-to-head swing and potentially a huge Western Division swing. And, of course, right on the heels of the Kets are Bourne with 31 points. Again, we're beating the dead horse, but it's the storyline going into today's game. It's a chance to go 6 points clear of that Sacco spot, if you will, in the Western Division.
Yeah, certainly, and obviously Cotuit, like the Goonies, they never say die. I would think gunning for, I would think throwing all your resources and all your arms and all your players forward to try to pick up a 2 spot or even maybe a 3 spot. I would say focus much more on keeping Borne off your tail than on catching Falmouth, Wareham, or Hyannis in front of you, because I think it's so unlikely, and I think you're more likely to do some harm to yourself if you go. You play to win every game, but don't play a game like it's a game 7. Don't be throwing your whole bullpen every single day, because you do, especially if they win today. They look in pretty good shape to get in the playoffs. The difference between home field advantage hasn't been a huge deal for them this year. They've lost terrible games at home and they've won great games on the road. So I think the focus should be get in the playoffs, be healthy, be pretty well rested as you can be with this tight schedule and a little bit of a short bench right now. Get in there and maybe let some craziness happen, and maybe you can be this year's Brewster. But yeah, I would say focus on keeping Borne off your tail. Should be first, last, and over Cotuit the rest of the way.
So let's look quickly at last night's games. The Kets 15-5 over Chatham. YD 8-3 over Bourne. Again, lost 8 of their last 10 now. Falmouth 7-2 over Hyannis. And then earlier today in Hartford, it was YD over Wareham 5-0. Let's look at the other 3 games around the Cape tonight. This one starting just minutes from now, and then over in Hyannis. Falmouth and Hyannis taking on each other. That's a big game in terms of Falmouth potentially getting into that possibility of taking the number 1 seed in the West Division. That's starting at 6. Then Orleans-Harwich, a big game in the East Division over at White House Field at 6:30 tonight. And then Brewster-Chatham at 7 at Veterans Field. Hopefully Fogg won't get rid of that one as well. Potential for the Anglers to sort of pick things up after last night's collapse. That'll just about do it for us. It's in the upper 70s. The humidity is... it's daunting. Yeah, it's impressive. That's one way to put it. But that's just part of the game. You just kind of have to deal with it. It's going to be the same for both teams, as Bill Belichick would say, and can't really put much more on it than that. After tonight, Bourne will go back home and take on Hyannis tomorrow at 6, another big West Division showdown. They're all big at this point, especially when they're in your own division. And then the Kettleers will travel to Brewster tomorrow at 5 to take on the Whitecaps. That'll just about do it for us. On behalf of Ben Fisher and myself, I'm Zach Kaplan, and we send it right up to our broadcast booth. Sam Brief and Sam Niederman with the call of today's pivotal divisional matchup. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Zach. Zach Kaplan and Ben Fisher executing the pregame show, as always, down on the field here at Lowell Park. As we bring you into the broadcast booth, Sam Niederman, Sam Brief. Sam and Sam, happy to be with you on this gorgeous Tuesday, sunny in Cotuit, as the playoff push continues for the Kettleers, who are riding a little hot streak and maybe turning the corner at the right time. 2 consecutive wins, 3 in 4 games, and today hosting the Bourne Braves, who are hanging by a thread for that Western Division 4th spot in the playoff chase. A pivotal matchup, the first of 3 in a jam-packed series between these 2 sides this week. Going to be a fun one today at Lowell Park.
It's an important stretch for the Kettleers. 3 games in 6 days against the very team that you're trying to bury. Now, Mike Roberts was adamant after the Chatham game, saying we're not focused on Bourne. You can't focus on who's chasing you. You got to focus on who's in front of you. So he's insisting they're focused on the Falmouths and the Warehams and the Hyannises of the world. But of course, you want to bury Bourne and make sure you assert yourself in that 4 spot in playoff position. The Kettleers are there right now, and a huge chance over the next 6 days to cement it in.
Cotuit 2 games up on Bourne for 4th place in the West. That's 4 points when you keep track of the Cape League point system. The Kettleers with 35 points. The Braves with 31 points. It's a big game today, a home game today, Thursday at home against Bourne as well, and then on Sunday at Doran Park. 3 games in 1 week between these 2 Western Division sides. Let's go back to last night for the Kettleers. Boy, was it fun. 15-5 victory over the Chatham Anglers in 5.5 innings. Yes, a final in 5.5 due to fog. There might have been a mercy rule component that was involved in there. Well, the Kettleers trailed 5-0 after the first inning and then just took all the momentum and ran with it from there.
I'm only 20. I haven't seen that many baseball games, but between Cape League games and college baseball games and Major League Baseball games, I'm not sure I've seen one quite as unique and wild with all the twists that this game had. If you told me after the Kettleers were down 5-0 after the first inning that the Kets would win 15-5, I would have looked at you like you had 7.5 heads. I mean, this was a comeback for the century. The Kettleers just turned it on offensively in such a big way, an explosion that we were really waiting from. And of course they had the big bats going. Zack Biermann hit a home run. Michael Tolya made it 15-5 with a grand slam, showing off his opposite field power. But it was a mixture of miscues by Chatham, 4 errors. It was a really messy game for them, but also just opportunistic hitting for the Kettleers. A bunch of singles, a bunch of doubles. They were just hitting it into the gap. The wind was blowing out, and they just took advantage. You have to credit this team for the mettle it showed in not giving up early on and sticking with it and then pouring it on Chatham.
How about the Bourne Braves today? Let's talk about the opponent a little bit. Desperate times for the Bravos. They come in 2-8 in their last 10 games. They endured a stretch recently where they lost 7 consecutive games. A team that has really fallen from grace at 15-19-1. Today's a must-win, you would say.
It is a must-win, and it's hard to say in the Cape that there are must-wins because it's a 44-game season, and you like to think of every game equally, especially at this point where we're not yet in that final 3 or 4 games of the season. But in talking with some of the Bourne people and their broadcasters before the game, we definitely got the sense that this is a must-win for them because right now they're 4 points back of the Kettleers, and if they lose this game, that would be 6 points back or 3 games back with just over a week left in the season. It's hard to come back from that, especially for a team that's been playing the way they're playing. 2-8 over their last 10. They're fresh off a 6-game losing streak. A loss today, especially if it gets ugly, could really cement them in the bottom of the West.
It's a big one today. The Cotuit Kettleers hosting the Bourne Braves, the first of 3 between these two sides this week. First pitch and starting lineups coming up next at Lowell Park at 5 p.m. Before that, let's check in with Coach Mike Roberts, our pregame interview. Coach, what do you have to say about today?
Getting ready for the Bourne Braves on a Tuesday afternoon at Lowell Park. Let's go back to last night at Veterans Field, Coach. A 15-5 win in 5.5 innings, called due to fog. The offense really came out and blasted it last night. What was working at the plate for the Kettle?
Well, it's a unique night. We're down 5-0. In my tenure here, I've never seen a game like that where you're down 5-0. The explosion happens.
Oh, our families are all sitting behind the bar.
Again, I think we're going to see second game.
Yeah, he looks like oh, that's cute. They're all sitting together.
2 people, 3 people, there's 9 people. And when you get 9 people going on the same page, you got a chance. And last night we see. Well, you know, your playoff games are probably your most memorable games overall, unless somebody goes 5 for 5, you know, that type of thing. But as far as comeback wins, I would have to say he's probably number 1. And you know, we've come from 5 down before. I don't think that's necessarily totally unusual, but to come from 5 down and win by 10, that's very unusual. So yeah, I would say it's right up there at number 1 probably as far as comeback wins are concerned.
Zack Biermann was welcomed back into the lineup last night with an RBI double and then a 2-run home run. Michael Tolya had that grand slam as well. How nice was it to see those big bats displaying their power?
Well, there's no doubt, you know, big bats take the place of a lot of singles at times, but we had a lot of singles, doubles in front of those home runs, and the anglers helped us a little bit last night. I think they had 4 errors, and when you do get that type of game, you know, sometimes there's errors and walks around it for you to drive in 15 runs in this league with wood bats. So, but it's always nice. We missed Zach the week he was gone back to school, and you know, we've kind of said the last few weeks, if we can get Michael going, it could really help us. So if those 2 guys could get hot at the same time, and some of the other guys just remain consistent, then I think our offense can be pretty decent down the stretch here.
And, Coach, it certainly helped to keep Chatham scoreless from the second to the end of the game, and Griffin McLarty was excellent. 4 innings, just 1 hit, no runs. His best outing of the season. What were you liking from him?
Well, I did tell him after the game that was the best outing of the year. He just thought he was real patient with himself. I didn't think he overthrew. He changed speeds. He threw inside. He was a really good pitcher. And that's It's not easy to do when the wind's blowing out. You got to so, again, when you get a comeback win, you've got to have somebody on the mound or more than one person that holds the other team blank for a while, and that's what he did. So he did have an outstanding outing.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tonight against Bourne.
It's a beautiful afternoon. We look forward to playing again.
Here with Coach Roberts, getting ready for the Bourne Braves on a Tuesday afternoon at Lowell Park. Let's go back to last night at Veterans Field, Coach. A 15-5 win in 5.5 innings, called due to fog. The offense really came out.
Welcome into beautiful Lowell Park for a big-time playoff push game for the Cotuit Kettleers against the Bourne Braves, the first of 3 between the two rivals. 2 games separating the two sides here in the Western Division playoff chase for that 4th spot. And the Kettleers getting hot in the dog days of July. Winners of 2 in a row, coming off that 15-5 demolition of Chatham last night at Veterans Field. 3 of their last 4 have been victories, and they look to continue their good winning ways tonight.
The Kettleers have yet to have a streak this season of any kind. A 3-game winning streak or a 3-game losing streak, which is a good thing, but today a big chance to win 3 in a row, to get back to over 500 for the first time in a week and start to bury the Bourne Braves. A big game for the Kettleers. Let's keep the momentum going.
Let's talk pitching matchup before we get to the starting lineups. A left-hander going on the bump for Cotuit today, Zane Collins from Wright State, making his 4th start of the season, his 10th game coming out. An 0-0 record with a 4.64 earned run average. Opposite Zachary Peak, a right-hander for Bourne, 0-0 record with a 6.15 ERA. Zane Collins, it's been an up-and-down season for him, beginning as a starter, then back into the bullpen. Now he's made his way back into the rotation ranks.
Yeah, Zang's been solid in the starting rotation. Ever since he came back as a starter, it's clear that he's made some adjustments to get his pitch location under control, and that was the key. His kryptonite has been the walks, but in his last couple of games, he's really been solid. His last start, just 2 walks to 5 strikeouts. He held Harwich to just 1 run and 4 hits in his 5 innings that he threw. He's starting to get that under control, and you can see his mojo is back. A returning Kettleer, so he knows how this goes. He knows what it's like in the middle of July when you're getting tired and all the teams are getting tired and you have to rise above. And I've been impressed with him, and he has a big chance today to shut down Bourne.
The Kettleers looking to keep the pedal to the metal here. Winners of 3 of their last 4. 1-2 against Bourne on the season. The last time these two sides got together back on Monday, July the 9th. That was in the middle of that 9-game stretch before the Fenway Park workout. And it resulted in a 9-3 Bourne Braves victory at Doran Park. Back at Lowell Park for just the 2nd time in this matchup this season. And the Kettleers looking sharp in the home white pinstripes, trimmed in maroon as usual, in front of a big-time home crowd. Tuesday afternoon with sunny skies overhead. Lowell Park looking as pristine as ever with a full crowd on the third base grandstand. Very buzzing atmosphere as folks file in. The concourse with the Kettleers kitchen. A great atmosphere for some baseball here today. Let's get you the starting lineup for the visiting Bourne Braves. Coached by Harvey Shapiro in his 16th season as manager. His starting 9 sounds like this. Tyler Fitzgerald, the second baseman, leading off. Anthony Prado, the shortstop, batting second. Jared Triolo is the third baseman, batting third. Spencer Brickhouse bats cleanup and plays first base. Lyle Lynn is back in the starting lineup as the catcher. He bats fifth. Ashton Barzell in center field, batting sixth. David Langer is the left fielder, batting seventh. Jake Garella, the right fielder, batting eighth. And Danny DiGiorgio is the shortstop, batting ninth. Once again for Bourne on the road, Fitzgerald at second, Prado at short, Triolo at third, Brickhouse at first, Lynn behind the plate, Barzell in center field, Langer in left field, Garella in right field, and DiGiorgio is the shortstop. Behind their right-hander, Zachary Peak, who will get the start and come out in the bottom of the first inning. Zane Collins, the southpaw, making his fourth start of the year for the Cotuit Kettleers. A 4.64 ERA in his second season. The Wright State Raider, who was an all-star in the Cape League last year, coming on into the Cotuit rotation that has sustained some damage, a couple of injuries. John Baker, Anthony Veneziano having to leave the Cape, and Collins trying to fill that role. Coming off a nice start in his last time out against the Harwich Mariners a week ago, where he went 5 innings, allowing just 1 run on 4 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 5. Great day for some baseball. A little hot, slight breeze, just blowing out here at Lowell Park as you see the American flag breezing over there in left center. And Tyler Fitzgerald will bat leadoff to start things off for the Bourne Braves. He's second baseman from Louisville, a .262 batter with a home run and 15 RBI on the season, followed by Anthony Prado and then Jared Triolo. Zane Collins, a left-hander on the mound, a quick moment to himself and dealing in a first pitch. Fastball at the knees, 84 miles an hour, strike one. Fitzgerald at the plate, sporting the navy road uniform for Bourne, the gray pants trimmed in white and red. Brushback slider from Collins there, running inside for ball one. Kettleers in the home whites, the pinstripes trimmed in maroon. Collins 1-1, hit in the air, soft little hanger in shallow right field. That'll be taken by the second baseman, Corey Wood. Just a step beyond the dirt, one down here in the opening frame.
And for the Kettleers, this first inning is important because you want to show to yourself that yesterday's 15-5 win was no flash in the pan. You got to keep it going from game to game.
First pitch to Anthony Prado dips low and in for ball one. Kettleers starting defense behind Zane Collins, Brady Smith at third, Mike Salvatore the shortstop. As Zane misses away with a sinker, 2-0 the count to Prado. Corey Wood is the second baseman and Michael Tolya the first baseman. Wind up in the 2-0, slashed off foul to the right side by Prado. Outfield, the same from last night, Peyton Burdick in left, Duke Ellis in center field, Will Robertson in right field, and Garrett Wolforth is the catcher to work with Collins today. One out, top of the first, and the 2-1 to Prado. Sinker that slaps high above the belt, ball three, as Collins will go off the rubber, adjust his pant legs, and collect himself. Just underway between Cotuit and Bourne here at Lowell Park. The 3-1. Fastball tipped off foul at the plate, and the count will run full. After a little dramatic spin of the ball as that ball sort of hugged the line up the first baseline, and Garrett Wolforth, the catcher, had to tap it to confirm that it was a foul ball.
Heads up by Prado, though, to just sprint to first because that ball could easily spin back into play and then he'd be safe at first, but with Wolforth just watching the ball. That's heads-up baseball.
Prado, the shortstop out of UConn, .250 batter with a home run and 8 RBI. Here's a full count pitch. Up and away, a one-out walk, and Bourne with their first base runner of the afternoon.
And I've seen crazier happen with those foul balls. Did you see there was a video last year of a Japanese baseball game where someone hit a little foul tip kind of ball down the first base line? It was all the way near the dugout and then did like a 180 and rolled back into play.
I did not see that. I feel like all kinds of crazy stuff happens in those Japanese league games with the baseballs.
Yep.
So a runner on for Bourne here in the visiting half of the first. One out, and now Jared Triolo takes a slider over the plate for strike one. Kettleers infield. Shifted slightly with Corey Wood, the second baseman, favoring second base much more with a big gap on the right side of the infield. Tolia holding on the runner at first. Collins 0-1. Good sinker away, 89 miles an hour. 0-2 to Triolo. Cotuit coming off that 15-5 win over Chatham at a foggy Veterans Field last night. As Collins comes set from the stretch, his 0-2. Little weak ground ball on the left side, foul. Bourne lost to YD yesterday on home turf. 8-3 was the final. A 5-run fifth from the Red Sox did them in. And the Braves have lost 8 of their last 10 ball games. Still in the hunt for a playoff spot. 2 games back of Cotuit with 3 to play against them this week. The 0-2, slider down and in. Ball and 2 strikes to Jared Triolo, the third baseman from Houston, who's had a stellar year. He was an all-star, .276 batter, 4 home runs, 23 runs driven in. He was 1 for 4 yesterday with a walk in the loss. Collins from the stretch, his 1-2 just pierced off foul as Triolo swung under a slider but was just able to get it off the top part of the bat to stay alive, and it looks like he might have broken that bat as he makes a slow walk over to the first base dugout, and it looks like he'll ask for a new weapon of choice. Nobody really helping him out there in the dugout as Lyle Lynn sort of looked at it, gave a prognosis of some sort, and now Jared Triolo gets a new bat, similar to the one that he was working with to begin this at-bat. Black on the barrel and then the natural color as he grips it with the white and red Franklin gloves. Pick over to first from Collins to check on Prado. No score on the top of one. One out and a runner on for Bourne. Collins, the lefty from Wright State, looks in, gets his sign, comes set, closed off. 1-2, tailing away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Triolo. First base coach for Bourne today, Joe Lincoln, who's on the bag with Prado, who takes his lead. Harvey Shapiro, the veteran manager, at third. The 2-2 whipped in the air and down in the left center gap from Jared Triolo. A 1-out single to move Prado up to second, and Bourne starting a little rally here in the opening half.
Yeah, good hit from Triolo. And for the Bourne offense, they've also got to get going early. These first 2 innings are important. They didn't score through the first 5 innings against YD. That's been their struggle, as they get down early. But a big chance for them here with 2 runners on, and their MVP at the plate in Spencer Brickhouse.
Spencer Brickhouse from Eastern Carolina University, batting from the left side with 2 runners on and 1 out here in the visiting half of the first. Collins' first pitch to him is a slider that tails way outside for ball 1. Brickhouse, the All-Star Game MVP back in Harwich on Sunday, a game in which he performed to the tune of a 2-for-2 day. Home run, double, and 2 runs batted in. And he gets a hold of one here. Fly ball that's sinking into right field, down for a base hit. The runner at third is held up. Prado gets a stop sign from Harvey Shapiro. And Will Robertson doing a nice job to get that in quickly for Cotuit. But Spencer Brickhouse doing what he does, just a little bloop single to load up the bases with 1 out here in the top of the first.
Robertson had a chance at that initially, but he just lost it in the sun, and that's one of the tough parts about playing right field at Lowell Park is you're going to be in the sun pretty much up until the 7th or 8th inning. That's the last part of the field to be in the sun, and there it's beating down on him.
Now Lyle Lynn, catcher from Arizona State, a returnee for this Bourne Braves squad. Takes a breaking pitch for ball 1. Bases loaded, 1 out in the first inning of play. No score, but Bourne knocking on the door. The 1-0 from Collins, sinker missing low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Lynn. Bats from the right side. Hasn't made a start since July the 21st, where he went 2 for 5 with a triple and 3 RBIs against Brewster. Grounds one towards short here. Salvatore, backhand pick, over to second for 1. The relay from Wood in time to retire Lynn at first. 6-4-3, double play. Kettleers spun up by Zane Collins on the mound. And what a play, Mike Salvatore to get out of a bases-loaded threat here in the top of the first. And we're scoreless as the Kettleers will come to the plate. Bottom of the first inning coming up next. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Cotuit. Bottom of the first inning as the Kettleers will have their first chance at the plate today in a scoreless game against the Bourne Braves. Let's get you Mike Roberts starting 9, the same as last night in the 15-5 victory over Chatham. No changes for the offense, and it's pretty simple for the reason why. Lineup, if you missed it last night, sounds like this. Will Robertson, the right fielder, batting leadoff. Zack Biermann is back. He's the second man in the order as a designated hitter. Garrett Wolfe, the catcher, bats third. Michael Tolya is the first baseman batting cleanup. Duke Ellis, in center fielder, he is batting fifth. Corey Wood, the second baseman, batting sixth. Mike Salvatore at shortstop batting seventh. Brady Smith bats eighth and plays third. And Peyton Burdick batting ninth, playing in left field. Once again for the Kettleers, Robertson in right, Biermann at the DH spot. Wolfe the catcher. Tolia at first, Ellis in center, Wood at second, Salvatore at short, Smith at third, and Burdick in left field as Zane Collins was the starting pitcher in the top of the first inning, getting out of a bases-loaded jam. A 6-4-3 double play turned by Mike Salvatore and company. Big defense to keep this one a scoreless ball game.
Big defense. That was a clutch double play. Pretty much the best case scenario to force that ground ball to short. Good job by the middle of the infield turning it. And as far as the lineup is concerned, I love to see the same exact lineup. Mike Roberts likes to switch up his lineup, keep his guys on his toes, but easy to recognize after you score 15 runs in 5 innings, you got to put the same guys out there in the same spots, and that's exactly what we get, starting with a red-hot Will Robertson.
No score as we enter the bottom of the first. Robertson, Biermann, and Wolfe, the same three that started it last night for Cotuit, due up here against the right-hander Zachary Peak. 6'3", 205 pounds, a rising junior at Winthrop University, as he gets the call for Bourne today, making his 4th start of the season, his 7th game appearance on the year, and he gets back into the starting rotation, winding up and delivering to Robertson, who hacks at the first pitch, fouling it towards the third base grandstand and out of play. So the Kettleers get out of the top of the first inning. Double play, 6-4-3 with the bases loaded. And now the offense with their first chance after that 15-run outburst last night. Robertson lasering one down the left field line, but it'll get out of play foul. Just behind a fastball from Peak, but Robertson down in the count, 0-2. Here's the windup in the 2-strike offering. Ground ball turned foul on the right side, and Robertson sticking with it at the plate. The starting defense for Bourne, Jared Triolo at third base. Anthony Prado is the shortstop. Tyler Fitzgerald at second base, and Big Spencer Brickhouse at first. Lyle Lynn is the catcher, as here's the 0-2 from Peak. Upstairs, 93 miles an hour on a fastball for ball 1. The rest of the Braves defense in the outfield, David Langer in left, Jake Garella in right field, and Ashton Bardzell in center. Robertson fouling one back straight into the chain-link fence. 95 miles an hour on the fastball that time from Peak, and that's his trademark, good velocity.
He's a flamethrower. We'll see him go up to even 96 today. He can get a little erratic sometimes in his own head, but he can gas it.
A 1-2 count on the Cotuit leadoff man here. The windup in the 1-2. Fastball called strike 3 at the knees. 96-mile-an-hour gas from Zachary Peak to retire the leadoff man here in the home half of the first.
Good pitch from Peak, and for a guy who's primarily a fastball hitter, I know Mike Roberts wants to see his guys come out swinging. He's preached that this year. You got to swing, 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 swing. And that time a fastball at the knees, one Robertson probably should have swung at, but it was coming in hot, 95.
Now Zack Biermann, after the Robertson strikeout, takes a fastball down and in for ball 1. No score here at Lowell Park, bottom of the first inning. Kettleers getting out of a bases-loaded jam. And now at the plate as a swing and a miss. Fastball away as Peak able to beat Biermann there. A ball and a strike to the big power hitter who had a night last night. 2 for 3, a double, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. 1-1 just off the plate with a changeup. 2 balls and a strike. Biermann, the big DH from Coastal Carolina. From West Bend, Wisconsin originally, batting from the left side. The 2-1 turned foul down the right field line. And a 2-2 count. Packed house here at Lowell Park. Plenty of folks in the third base grandstand. Lots of hats, lots of sunglasses on a sunny day. Slight breeze as the green trees bristle in the outfield. A few clouds overhead. It is hot, and the Kettleers looking to stay hot. Biermann at the plate, asking for time. As Peak, the right-hander out of Winthrop, will get set with the black mitt. Wiggles it a couple times, now winds up. The 2-2, grounded towards first. Backhand pick Brickhouse. A toss on to Peak, who covers the bag in time for out number 2. 3-1 on the ground out for Biermann. 2 retired, and now Garrett Wolforth with the bases empty here in the bottom of 1. Still nothing doing in this ball game. Wolforth, the designated hitter, the catcher from Dallas Baptist University. Spring, Texas native in the Houston area. First pitch from Peak, called strike with a changeup over the plate to begin the at-bat. Wolforth batting from the left side as the 0-1 is outside. A ball and a strike to a young man who began as the bullpen catcher for the Kettleers, scrapped his way, earned the respect of the coaches and players, and now is a member of the 30-man roster. And a regular starter, it looks like, down the stretch as he takes a fastball inside, 2-1 the count. 6 for his first 20 with a home run, 4 RBIs. He was 2 for 4 last night. A rising senior at Dallas Baptist. Pretty darn good college baseball program as well. And really picking up Cotuit late in the season. There's a called strike on the inside corner to even the count. But how about Wolforth? The way that he's climbed the ladder and worked it up the hard way and now making an impact.
And he's good. He's got a good bat. He's great defensively. We've seen him flash the power.
The 2-2 punched the other way, deep into left field. But it will sail foul on the left field line, and Wolforth still battling with a 2-2 count.
And it's so great to see a guy who wasn't given anything, wasn't promised anything. All he knew was he was coming, he was going to catch bullpen, and now he's a regular contributor, 5 straight starts.
The 2-2, looping slider upstairs to run the count full. 2 outs here in the home half of 1. 0-0 between Borne and Cotuit. Wolforth at the plate, facing off against a team that he once played for back in the 2016 Cape League summer. Full count pitch is grounded foul on the right side. And Wolforth at the plate. Interesting look with those pinstripe pants as he has them cuffed and rolled up about midway up the shins. Kind of the Jack Sparrow look that we saw with Griffin McLarty on the mound last night. Not quite all the way with the high socks.
It worked for Griff.
See if it works here. The 3-2, foul tip into the catcher's mitt. Strike 3 as Zachary Peak strikes out 2 of the first Cotuit batters that he faces and retires the side in order. As we venture on to the second inning here at Lowell Park, 0-0 between Borne and Cotuit. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball. We'll be back in a moment here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back at it here at Lowell Park, inning number 2, and no score between the Bourne Braves and the homestanding Cotuit Kettleers. Welcome back as we bring you into the broadcast booth. Sam Niederman, Sam Brief, and our entire Kettleers media team. Happy to have you along with us. Hope you're doing well on this fine Tuesday as the Kettleers back out in the field. Behind their lefty, Zane Collins, who allowed 2 hits back in the first inning against Bourne, but got out of a bases-loaded jam with a 6-4-3 double play. He'll be facing 6, 7, and 8 in the Bourne order. Ashton Barzell, David Langer, and then Jake Gorilla. As Zane, the left-hander, looks down at the rubber, holds the mitt by his chin and gets the sign from Garrett Wolforth, dealing in his first pitch to Barzell, low and in with a sinker, ball 1. Barzell, the center fielder out of Hartford University, 277 batter with 2 home runs and 9 driven in on the campaign. 1-0 from Collins. Sinker inside, according to home plate umpire Larry Rosenberg for ball 2. Rest of the umpiring crew, Mike Collier at first base, Bill Peck at third base. Another sinker that runs outside, ball 3, and Collins down in the count against the leadoff man Ashton Barzell. Sunny skies overhead. Here's a 3-0. Get me over fastball for strike 1. Umpires in the powder blues today. Pretty good look for a hot Tuesday. As Collins 3-1 is chopped off foul at home plate, and he battles back to make this a full count.
Love it. Love the powder blues. The crew chief, whoever's at home plate, gets to decide. So today, Larry Rosenberg, sensing the moment, knowing when to pull out the powder blues. Good job.
The 3-2, grounded towards short. Taken by Salvatore. Good throw and a nice stretch by Tolia at the bag to gun down the runner in Barzell. 1 away here in the second.
You know, the Kettleers have played some pretty smooth defense in the last few games, and it was a nice response from the kind of defensive disaster, as Mike Roberts was saying, against Chatham on Friday night. The 10-9 comeback win for Chatham. The Kettleers had 4 errors, and then in the win on Saturday against Wareham, no errors. And in the win last night against Chatham, no errors, while Chatham had 4. And so far today, we've seen some nice defensive plays. A lot of times that defense can key the offense and give you some more confidence, and I'm liking what I'm seeing on that end from Cotuit.
Now David Langer, who's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes against Zane Collins. 1 out in the top of the second inning, no score. Between these two West Division rivals, Cotuit up by 2 games for that 4th and final playoff spot, as Langer whips one back foul off the end of his bat. Batting from the right side, left fielder from UConn, who's 3 for 17 with 2 runs batted in his young stint with the Bourne Braves. Short at 5'10" with that Navy batting helmet with a lot of dirt on it. The 2-1 is a sinker in the dirt from Collins. 3 balls and a strike. Zane, of course, a sinker ball pitcher. Velocity, not his strong suit. Sits in the mid to high 80s when he gets up there. This 3-1, right on the heart of the plate, strike 2. Came back for a second summer in Cotuit to work with Tim Smith, the strength and conditioning coach, try and boost that velocity. 3-2, hacked off foul at the plate, and Langer stays alive.
We always see Tim Smith's workouts before the games. I mean, looks intense. If I had any fastball velocity, I'm sure mine would go up with Tim Smith. He works them to a pulp.
Full count pitch, just outside, and Langer draws a 1-out walk, the second one issued today by Collins. And Borne will have a base runner here in the top of the second.
So that's 2 walks, 2 base hits for Zane. Still no runs plated, so no real trouble, but Garrett Wolforth now on the mound, just talking through Zane. Let's get it under control.
And now a little bickering back and forth between Mike Roberts from the Kettleer third base dugout and Larry Rosenberg, the home plate umpire. Roberts not happy with the balls and strikes on that last at-bat as Collins missed very closely with a sinker on the 3-2 pitch. Now a ground ball up the middle. 2 hops towards Salvatore, who hustles over to second, taps it for 1, and a good throw on to first for another inning-ending double play. How about Salvi flashing the leather up the middle for the Kettleers as Zane Collins gets out of the second. No runs on no hits, no errors, and a man left for Bourne as the Kettleers come back to the plate. Bottom of 2 after this break here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Kettleers will have another chance at the plate against the right-hander Zachary Peak here in the bottom of the second. Still a scoreless ball game. 2 inning-ending double plays turned by Mike Salvatore at short for Cotuit, as they're able to strand another Bourne base runner in the last frame, and the heart of the order coming up. 4, 5, and 6. A lot of pop due up with Michael Tolya to lead things off, and Duke Ellis and Corey Wood to follow. And Big Mike will step in and bat from the left side, the switch hitter out of UCLA, who gets to start at first base today. The imposing frame at 6'5", 210 pounds, as he does his signature back bends and forward bends to get loose before he steps in, as the Kettleers will look to break open a scoreless ball game here at home. Happy to have you along with Sam and Sam here in the broadcast booth. Sunny skies, another gorgeous day at Lowell Park. First pitch from Peak. Fastball at 92 that runs inside, ball 1. Hard to believe we only have 4 more home games left this season here at LP. Of course, Bourne on Thursday, Brewster on Saturday. The 1-0, missing at the shins, 2 balls and no strikes to Tolia. And then Wareham on Tuesday, July the 31st, and the regular season finale against Falmouth on August the 2nd. Peak with the windup in his 2-0. Laser beam over towards deep left field. Tolia down the left field line with extra bases to lead off the second. And Big Mike picking up right where he left off last night. The grand slam there, an opposite field double to lead off the home half of the second.
And the grand slam also opposite field. That one into left center field when he was batting lefty back at Veterans Field. And he's been showing that opposite field power in the last couple of games. The grand slam last night, usually an opposite field home run, at least for me, when I watch it from the vantage point behind home plate, you can't always tell it's a no-doubter right away. But that was one of the rare opposite field home runs where you kind of could tell right away this guy's got power from both sides. He can go anywhere in the ballpark. Such a special talent.
Peak out of the stretch. Duke Ellis, the batter, who lays down a bunt towards the left side, and a beauty. And Ellis is going to leg out a bunt single. No play for Jared Triolo at third. What a wonderful bunt to advance Tolia, and the cherry on top is Ellis with his speed getting down the line at first.
Too good, too good. These guys, these speedy guys, from Ellis to Wood to Byrd, so good at laying down these bunts, and that one a perfect one from Ellis. A good close from Triolo. I thought he could have made the play, but he just kind of held up, hesitated too long. The speedy Duke Ellis beats it out, and now a huge chance for the Cats.
First and third, nobody out in the bottom of the second inning. And Corey Wood at the plate. Second baseman from Coastal Carolina bats from the left side, as the first pitch from Peak is fouled off to the left and out of play. The leadoff double from Tolia, and then Duke Ellis on the first pitch he sees, laying down a beautiful bunt to the left side for a single. Brickhouse holding on at first, nobody holding Tolia on at third. 0-1 the count, as Peak will whip one over to check on Ellis, who's very fleet-footed. The outfielder from Texas with great speed will look to try and move up to second base. Peak a long look in, and another throw over to first. Corey Wood at the plate, 1 for 3 last night with a double, a walk, and 2 runs scored. 224 batter on the season with a home run and 5 driven in. The 0-1. Outside with a fastball, 1 ball and a strike to Corey, who's walked more than he's struck out this season. 21 walks, that's 4th best on the Cape, and 20 strikeouts. Second on this Cotuit team in OBP. Peak from the stretch, his 1-1. Foul ball right behind home plate. 1-2 count in favor of the right-hander from Winthrop. So Woody at the plate, trying to drive in the first Kettleer runs of the ball game. 2 hits in this inning. Runners on first and third. Nobody out. Peak, the right-hander, on the mound. Comes set, closed off with the Adidas black cleats. Ellis hopping off at first. The 1-2. Little liner. 1 hop caught at shortstop by Prado, who will throw on to first for a double play. L6, and then the relay on to first for a double play, as Ellis was already on the move. And just like that, 2 outs here for Zachary Peak. Boy, do you need it.
That's a stinger. And for Kettle's side, that's turned now 2 impressive double plays to the shortstop position. Prado engineers a nice one. And you can't blame Duke Ellis for going. Looked like a ground ball or a shot into the gap.
Here's Mike Salvatore, who takes a fastball upstairs, ball 1. Still a runner on third in Tolia, but 2 down here in the home half of the second. Salvatore at the plate. Peaks 1-0. Up and away, 96-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 balls and no strikes to Salvi. Went over 3 last night, a walk and a run scored. Florida State shortstop has really added some pop into the lineup in terms of a middle infielder, hitting .258 with 11 driven in. Peaks 2-0. Called strike, good fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike. No score here in the bottom of the second, but a runner 90 feet away for Cotuit. 2-1. Line shot deep in the gap towards left center field. Salvatore will drive in Tolia with a 2-out double. And Salvi might try for 3. He's digging for it, sliding it head first, beating the throw easily. A triple for Mike Salvatore to give Cotuit a 1-0 lead here in the second.
Love the hustle from Salvi. Pulling around second, just speeding into third, and a great hit into the gap. Fastball on the outer part of the zone. He brings his hands across nicely, powering it through. And how about this guy? That was his 10th RBI of the season. He's been such a nice addition for the Kettleers, and they get a run early.
So Tolia's leadoff double not wasted as he comes around to score. 1-0 Cotuit, bottom of the second, and now nearly a balk call. Time called at home plate. A balk call indeed. Balk is the call on Zachary Peak, and Salvatore will finish off the last 90 feet of his journey and come home to score. 2-0 Cotuit. And now Harvey Shapiro, the Bourne manager, out of the first base dugout, disgusted with Larry Rosenberg, the home plate umpire. There's controversy as Zachary Peak was getting set to deliver the first pitch to Brady Smith, who's the new batter. Was Salvatore on third, but a balk call issued behind home plate to bring home the run. Mike Roberts was barking for that call because there was some confusion in the beginning. He gets his wish. Salvatore comes home to score. Harvey Shapiro wasn't happy at all, but after all that, it's 2-0 Kettleers. First pitch to Smith. Fastball right down the heart of the plate for strike 1.
Second consecutive game, the Kettleers get a run home on a balk. Last night in Chatham, one of the 15 runs. And it was this guy, Brady Smith, coming home on the balk.
Off-speed pitch away for ball 1 to Smith. So Mike Roberts, with that runner on third, made sure that he came home to score. A balk call on Zachary Peak. And now 2-0 Cotuit, as Smith thought about offering at a fastball, but it's low for ball 2.
Mike Roberts kind of willing him home on the balk.
If I'm not mistaken, he kind of said, like, go down there. Just go down there and tap home plate. Smith hacks at the 2-1 and gets it through the left side of the infield on the ground. A 2-out single as Brady keeps the inning alive, and the Kettleers with 4 hits already in this inning.
Big inning for Cotuit, stringing together the hits. The bottom of the lineup produced a lot of the starts of rallies against Chatham in the 15 unanswered runs in 5 innings, most notably in the 4th when they scored 3. And Brady Smith, Peyton Burdick got aboard with a single and a double. And then the top of the order cleaned it up.
2 outs and a runner on for Peyton Burdick, the number 9 batter, who swings at the first pitch and fouls it off. 2-0 Kettleers in the bottom of the second inning. The RBI triple from Mike Salvatore driving in Tolia, and then Salvi coming in to score on a balk call. Brady Smith keeping the inning alive with a single, and now Byrd at the plate. Peak out of the stretch. His 0-1. Looping slider outside, ball 1. As a snapback throw behind the plate from Lowell Lynn to check on the guys back in safe. So the Kettleers offense putting them out in front here today. They were in that 5-0 hole against Chatham yesterday. But a home lead against Bourne. The 1-1 up and in with a fastball, and they're going to say that hit Burdick. Once again, Peyton Burdick hit by a pitch. A 1-1 fastball that ran high and tight and looked to graze his jersey. And Byrd will go down to first base. A hit batsman with 2 outs for the Kettleers. 2 on, and now the top of the order to come up. And this will warrant a mound visit from the Bourne pitching coach to check on his right-hander and Zachary Peak.
That's the 7th hit by pitch of the season for Byrd, tied for the 2nd most on the Cape. He's had some bruisers, but that one hardly a bruiser, just kind of skimmed his jersey. Either way, he takes first and a chance for this rally to continue.
Zachary Peak, the right-hander from Winthrop, who thrived in his 2018 Big South Conference year with a 3.74 ERA and 14 starts. He struck out 99 batters in 89 innings. He's struggled on the Cape this season with a 6+ ERA and has allowed 2 runs to Cotuit here in this inning. Now against the hot-hitting Will Robertson with 2 on and 2 out. Peak from the stretch, dealing in as Robertson pops one up foul and out of play in the parking lot. Robertson working on a 4-game hit streak. 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking back in the bottom of the first. Runners take their leads, nobody holding on. Peak looks back at second, his 0-1 in the outer batter's box. That evens the count up on Will. Fantastic last night, 3 for 4, 2 doubles and 3 runs batted in. Robertson really seeing the ball well at the right time. The 1-1 fastball darting on the outside corner for strike 2, 92 miles an hour. And Peak gets ahead in the count. 2-0, Cotuit on top. Salvatore the RBI triple and then came home to score on a balk. 2 more on, a 1-2 count with 2 outs to Robertson at the plate. Peak's 1-2. Ripped down the right field line, out of play, foul. Home plate umpire Larry Rosenberg. Looked like he was asking for some new baseballs maybe from the Bat Boys, or maybe telling a fan to quiet down, I think. The 1-2 again. Just slowing in with a fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It looks like Peak is going to really stay with that fastball on the mound.
That's his bread and butter. He beats you with velocity.
2-2, 2 on, 2 outs here in inning number 2. And a called strike 3 on the inside corner. Boy, he's heating it up with the gas at 96 miles an hour as Robertson goes down to end the inning. But the Kettleers strike first, up 2-0. 2 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. As we head to the 3rd, Sam Brief with the play-by-play when we return. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Ket's on top here at Lowell Park. 2-0 Cotuit over Borne as we head to the 3rd inning. Zane Collins, the southpaw out of Wright State, on to work this inning. He is the starter for the Kettleers. As the Here Come the Kettles chants ring about Lowell Park, the Kettle kids with their little mini black kettles asking for donations from fans all over Lowell Park. And the 9-hitter takes strike one. That's Danny DiGiorgio, the DH out of Rutgers. In just his second game with Bourne, 0 for 4 on the season. As the Scarlet Knight takes strike one. DiGiorgio, 6'5", 205, a rising redshirt sophomore at Rutgers. 1-1 is outside, ball 2. He comes from Staten Island, New York, and he was a member of the All-Big Ten freshman team last year. As Zane's 2-1 is sent, a grounder on the right side, scooped up by big Michael Tolia. He takes it to the bag himself, and there's one away for Zane Collins. Now we flip it to the top of the lineup with Tyler Fitzgerald.
It's nice to see Zane Collins with a little bit of run support. The Kettleers picking him up in the last frame, sparked by Michael Tolia with that leadoff double. Coming home to score on Salvatore's RBI triple. That was so fun to watch him speed around for a triple, I believe just the second of the season for Cotuit on the year.
Fitzgerald, big swing and a miss for strike one. I think the first was Jacob Goldfarb. Of course, now with the Wareham Gateman.
It was against these Bourne Braves.
Yep, it was at Bourne. About 2 weeks ago, 0-1 to Fitzgerald, swing and a miss for strike two. It's crazy how fast time flies here on the Cape. 2 weeks ago, the Kettleers were playing Bourne. Jacob Goldfarb got a triple, and now 2 weeks later, he's on the Wareham Gateman. And Bourne, who was then 13-10, as the 0-2 comes in outside, skips in front of Wolfworth, a 1-2 count. Bourne at that point was 13-10, nestled in third place. They seem to be the second or third best team in the West. And after losing 9 of 11, they're in the gutter, 15-9-1, 2 games back of the Kets. Here's Zane's 1-2. Fitzgerald cracks it foul down the third base line. Count stays 1-2. Tyler Fitzgerald, 0 for 1 today, the second baseman and leadoff hitter out of Louisville. One of 7 returners to this Bourne Braves team. Not all of them with the team right now, but all of them were with the Braves those first few weeks of the season. As Collins kicks and deals with the 1-2, check swing. He did go, according to Larry Rosenberg, our home plate umpire. And that's the first strikeout of the day for Zane Collins, and now 2 outs in the third.
Nice job by Collins, fooling him with the off-speed there. Second time facing the Bourne order, and you start at the top with a nice strikeout of Tyler Fitzgerald.
Here's another Staten Island kid, Anthony Prado, out of UConn. He pulls back a bunt attempt to take strike one in a 2-0 Kettleer lead. Top of the third on a beautiful day at Lowell Park. Zane kicks and deals, sends the sinker in the dirt for ball one. Blue skies overhead, just a few white wispy clouds, and the sun shining. Lowell Park looking good on this Tuesday. As the 1-1 comes to Prado, he sends a high chopper over the head of Brady Smith. Salvi backs him up and sends a throw that's wayward to Michael Tolia, who smartly gets off the bag to keep it in front. But Anthony Prado runs out the infield single, and nearly another great defensive play from Salvi.
I thought for a second that Salvatore was going to make that throw deep in the hole. A really high bounce that got over the head of a leaping Brady Smith at third. And a good job by Salvi to back him up. Nice pick, but wasn't able to make a throw in time, and it would have been tough even with Prado running down the line.
Here's Jared Triolo, big swing and a miss for strike one. Hey, question. Have you ever seen that, there's a YouTube video, the Trololo video? If not, I'm just going to forget it.
You're probably going to have to forget it, my friend.
I'll forget it, because that's what Jared Triolo reminds me of. Houston Cougar, 1 for 1 today with a runner at first. Zane's 0-1, curveball outside. Now a 2-1, or still a 1-1 count. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Kets, no errors. No runs on 3 hits for Bourne. And 2 outs here in the top of 3. Anthony Prado takes his lead at first. The pitch from Collins in the dirt for ball 2. Remind me after the game to show you the video.
Okay,
All
I
right.
feel like my younger siblings would know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hit when we were in kind of middle school, beginning of high school.
I don't know, maybe not. Do you think any of our audience knows?
It depends who's in the audience today. 2-1, laser up the middle, through for a base hit by Jared Triolo. Prado holds up at second, and Bourne in business with a little 2-out rally and big Spencer Brickhouse coming up. So that's appointment viewing for us after the game. We'll get to that. But meanwhile, Triolo having a nice day. He's 2 for 2 with 2 singles. And now Spencer Brickhouse a chance to get Bourne back in this one.
Yeah, this Triolo kid, he's really impressed on the Cape this summer. Lots of power, but also finds a way to hit for contact, just like he did there. And a big spot for Cotuit, who have given up some 2-out rallies to Bourne this season. You don't want to let them get back into this ball game. The 2-0 lead, and Collins on the mound, facing off against the Bravo's best hitter in Brickhouse.
Spencer Brickhouse, the first baseman out of Eastern Carolina, steps in and takes ball 1. A 1-0 count now. Runners on first and second. Triolo at first, Prado at second. Brickhouse, one of the best players on the Cape. Second on the Cape with 24 runs batted in. As he swings and misses at the 1-0, a sinker to bring the count to 1-1. Brickhouse hit a home run in the All-Star game, part of a back-to-back home run rally with him and Falmouth's Kyle Stowers to give the West a 4-3 lead. And Brickhouse was named All-Star Game co-MVP. 1-1 to the MVP in the Dirt Ball 2 from a former Cape League All-Star in his own right, Zane Collins, who was superb as a starter last year for the Kettleers, back for his second summer on the Cape. And in a jam right now, looking to get out of it with 2 outs. 2-1. Good pitch on the outside corner. Called strike 2, and it's a 2-2 count. Brickhouse, a lefty, commanded a shift the first couple times these two teams got together, but now not as much of a shift. The second baseman, Corey Wood, playing a little deep on the second base side. Here's the 2-2, swung on, and it's tapped to Corey Wood. He scoops it up, throws to first, and there's out number 3. So another jam for Zane Collins, but no problem, he gets out of it. And it's still 2-0 Kettleers as we head to the bottom of the third here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Kettleers leading the Bourne Braves 2-0. Sam and Sam here in the booth alongside Mason Horodisky and Bailey Hewson, our Kettleer media team. Thanks for watching or listening to this one. Only 4 home games after this. Hard to believe. 4 home games in the regular season. Of course, Kettleers will look to make a playoff push if the season ended today. They're safely in the top 4 teams in each division making the playoffs. Kettleers 4th right now in the West with the 16-16 record with 3 ties. Bourne 2 games back, and the Kets looking to bury them today. Zack Biermann will lead things off, and he takes strike 1 with a big swing and a miss. Battle of the Zacharys right now as Zachary Peak is back on for his 3rd inning of work. He's given up 2 runs on 4 hits. As he kicks and fires to his fellow Zach, and it's a good fastball on the inside corner taken for strike 2. Biermann back in the lineup after a 1-week hiatus, had to head back to school to Coastal Carolina. And then was back for yesterday's game against Chatham as he takes the 0-2. It's a fastball on the outside corner, taken for strike 3. So Zachary Peak sets down Zachary Biermann, and that's 4 Ks for Mr. Peak.
Peak is a talented pitcher. you can see why he's generated a lot of buzz coming out of college, had a great season with Winthrop, and his fastball is the highlight of it all. In the mid-90s, he's really blown it by a few of the Cotuit batters today.
Here's Garrett Wolforth, who swings and misses at strike one. Wolforth has impressed as a Kettleier, 6 for his first 21. A home run, big home run late Saturday night against Wareham, and 4 batted in as he hammers the 0-1 over the head of Anthony Fitzgerald and into right field for a base hit. Nice knock from Garrett Wolforth. He's continued to impress. A young man who has really worked his way from bullpen catcher to this point. And hey, if baseball doesn't work out for him, which it very well may, this guy could be a meteorologist. Because yesterday, during batting practice, when it was still daytime, he pointed up to the sky. Low clouds rolling in. That's going to turn into fog later. And about 3 hours later, we were heading home with the fog out. He takes his lead, and Michael Tolya takes strike one.
Weatherman Garrett.
Do you think that'll stick?
I hope it will.
I hope so. But I could never tell fog during the day, but he saw the low clouds rolling in with the wind. He said, we're done for.
He read the tea leaves.
0-1 to Tolya. Smash, deep right field. A no-doubter from Michael Tolya. His second consecutive home run. And the Kets take a 4-0 lead.
Oh, Michael Tolya is feeling it at the plate right now. What a drive out there to right field. Pulled it just like Coach Mike Roberts would like from the left-hander. What a shot. What a play, Tolya.
That's exactly what Mike Roberts was working on with Tolya. Getting his glutes out in front and using all of his strength to pull it. And that time, a no-doubter, the right fielder in Jake Garella, all he could do was backpedal about 2 or 3 paces and watch it fly. 2-run home run for Tolya sends home Wolforth. And it's 4-0 Kets as Duke Ellis takes ball 1 high and tight. Tolya now with a team-leading 5 home runs. And he's got 2 home runs in his last 2 games now with the grand slam yesterday against Chatham. Strike 1 comes into Ellis. That grand slam capped off a 7-run 5th inning. The second time this season the Kets have scored 7 in an inning. 1-1 to Ellis. Ground ball up the middle. Fitzgerald scoops, throws, just barely in time to get a speedy Ellis. And there's 2 outs. So that grand slam for Tolya, that was an opposite field home run, putting the Kettleiers up 15-5. They scored 15 runs on 12 hits. Once down 5-0 in the first inning, and the Kets stormed back for the 15-5 win in a fog-shortened contest. Just 5.5 innings. The game called due to that thick Chatham fog that rolled in. The second game this season the Kettleiers have had called due to fog at Chatham. And we talked to Mike Roberts before the game, if you missed our pregame interview. He said that was the most memorable comeback as Corey Wood swings and misses, a 1-1 count. In his 15 years in Cotuit, the most memorable comeback he's seen as the Kettleier manager. That's a lot of games, 44 plus playoffs times 15 years. He said he'd never seen a crazier comeback than that, to be down 5-0 so quickly, to score 15 unanswered, and then win in a fog-shortened game. Nothing quite like it. 2-1 to Corey Wood. Smashed foul, a 2-2 count. So Michael Tolya, the 2-run home run, and the Kettleiers up 4-0. 4 runs on 6 hits for Cotuit, no runs on 4 hits for Bourne, on some good situational pitching from Zane Collins. Peak to Wood. Here's the 2-2, swung on by Wood, and this one a high fly ball, deep left field, carrying back to the track, and it's off the wall. A double for Corey Wood as he wheels around second and holds up there. Corey Wood, opposite field power to keep this inning alive with a good hit off the wall. And now Mike Salvatore a chance.
Hey, how about Corey Wood taking that one for a ride deep to left field? Opposite field power. I thought that one might get out for a quick second, but it died just at the wall. The Kettleiers really finding the ball well against Zachary Peak. 4 runs on 7 hits. Of course, Tolya, the highlight. Still cannot believe that home run. He is seeing the ball well. He's an X factor for the Kettleiers. If he can really get going down the stretch here, Cotuit is a dangerous team. They're so much more dangerous when they have him in the middle of the order producing at the rate he has been over the last couple games.
So the Kettleers have pounced on Zachary Peak, 4 runs on 7 hits, and we're just in the third, and Harvey Shapiro has seen enough. Zachary Peak will give the ball over to his manager, sit back down in the dugout, and a new pitcher coming in for Bourne. We'll have the pitching change for you on the other side of this break. A 2-run home run from Michael Tolya puts the Kets up 4. We'll be right back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back at it from Lowell Park. The Kets pouncing on the Braves early. It's 4-0 with 2 outs here in the third, and a pitching change for the Braves as Kyle Martin comes into the game. Right-hander, a junior at Fordham University. He's 0-2 on the season with a 7.31 ERA in his 9 appearances. He struck out 19, he's walked 11, and his last time out was on July 17th at Hyannis. He gave up 2 runs in 2 innings. And Kyle Martin comes on in relief of Zachary Peak, who the Kettleers jumped on early and often. Peak threw a 1-2-3 inning in the first. But then a triple that drove in a run from Mike Salvatore. A balk that brought in Brady Smith. Brought in Mike Salvatore. And then the 2-run home run from Michael Tolya. It's 4-0 as Martin enters. First pitch to Salvatore is a grounder over to the shortstop Prado. He fires across the diamond, caught by Brickhouse, and he applies the tag on Mike Salvatore. The throw was a little high on Brickhouse. He jumped up and on his way down applies the tag to get the out. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Kyle Martin. But it's Kettleers 4, Braves 0 as we enter the 4th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It's been Kettleer dominance early and often here at Lowell Park as the Kets lead the Braves 4-0 through 3 innings. And Zane Collins on to work this frame. He'll face Lyle Lynn, Ashton Bardzell, and David Langer, the 5-6-7 hitters for Bourne. As Collins gets in the windup, here's his delivery to Lyle Lynn. It's a good one. Outside corner, pinned for strike 1. Kettleers placing 4 runs in on 7 hits, capped off by the 2-run blast off the bat of Michael Tolia. And off the bat of Lyle Lynn, a little pop-up foul. Out of play, it's an 0-2 count. Beautiful sunny day, about 80 degrees at Lowell Park, slight breeze blowing out. American flag in left center field just past the Lowell Park scoreboard, moving with the wind. As the 0-2 comes in, swung on by Lynn and popped for a base hit into center field right in front of Duke Ellis. A leadoff single for Lyle Lynn, who stays pat at first. So now Ashton Bardzell coming in to face off against Collins. Bardzell out of the University of Hartford. So a Hartford Cape League connection, and another one today where the YD Red Sox and the Wareham Gatemen actually played a game earlier today, already one final. The game being played in Hartford, Connecticut, home of the Hartford Yard Goats, one of the minor league ball clubs in the Northeast. A 5-0 YD win over the Gatemen. 0-1 count to Bardzell. Sweeping breaking ball outside corner, and it's an 0-2 count.
Dunkin' Donuts Park there in Hartford. Yep. Of course, that's the former team that pitching coach Jerry Weinstein managed back in 2016.
Here's the 0-2 from Collins. Outside, it bounces in the dirt. Wolforth keeps it in front, a 1-2 count. Yard Goats. Just a great name, too.
That's one of those classic minor league baseball names. The Binghamton
Rumble Ponies. Yep.
The New Orleans Baby Cakes.
That's where Tebow is right now.
Yes, and he is hitting it right now.
He was an all-star.
You think he's going to get called up for the Mets?
Eventually. I mean, they have to for the PR, right?
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2 to Bardzell. The Hartford native takes it outside for ball 2. I mean, that just makes itself. The TV ratings, the ticket sales, the jersey sales. But he's actually been playing well. By the end of this season, with the way the Mets season is going, he might actually deserve a call-up. 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch to Bardzell. Swung on and roped into left field. This one tracking towards the pole, and it's foul. Just past the left field foul pole. Would have been a dangerous hit for the Kettleers to handle, but it's a loud strike, and it's a 2-2 count. What do you think? Percentage chance Tebow puts on the Mets pinstripes before we turn the calendar?
Turn the calendar in July? Or turn
no, like
to
2019.
Oh, okay.
2-2. Chopper. Third base side. Brady Smith charging in, but he'll let it roll at his feet. No play really there for Cotuit as it fell in between Zane Collins and Brady Smith. Another infield single as Ashton Bardzell is aboard. So give me your percentage.
I'll say 70%.
70?
Yeah, I'll say 70%. I think the PR is too good. A losing season for the Metropolitans, obviously. So it's going to be tough for them not to have the idea. Sports are entertainment at the end of the day, and it's a business. It's about revenue, and that's one way to make revenue in a year where they probably haven't made as much as they would hope for, with the team not being the product that you would desire. And it's incredible to me that Tim Tebow has worked his way up to this level in the minor leagues.
It really is. And it's not like you're going to call up a guy who's hitting like 0-5-0 with no home runs. I mean, Tebow was a AA All-Star. He's hitting .273, 6 homers, 36 batted in. David Langer steps in and takes ball 1. So maybe we'll see the call-up. I was a big Tebow fan when he was with Denver. Maybe now he'll be a Metropolitan. No outs here in the top of the 4th. 2 runners on, Lyle Lynn and Ashton Bardzell. UConn's David Langer at the plate. He lays down a pretty bunt, third base line. Smith scoops. The throw is in time to get the out as it one hops into the glove of Tolia. So Smith, a good defensive play there to scoop and throw. Both runners move over on the sacrifice bunt. So now runners at second and third with 1 out for Jake Garella.
Oh, what a dig out there by Tolia at first. Blocked it right in the 5-hole, and nice play by Smith on the run. You'll take that play to get an out as Bourne moves up their runners in the scoring position. A big spot for Zane Collins, who wants to get out of this. He's already got a 4-0 lead, so just focus one batter at a time.
Here's Jake Garella. Ball 1 comes into him. Garella out of St. Louis, a Billiken, college teammate of Cotuit's Ryan Leffner. Garella, a recent addition to the Bourne roster. He's 3 for 7 on the young season, and he takes ball 2 low. With runners at second and third, Zane Collins has gotten out of 2 little jams today. Had the bases loaded in the first, 6-4-3 double play to get out of it and end the inning. And a double play to end the second, 6 unassisted with Mike Salvatore doing the job. But now runners on second and third, 1 out, and a swing and a miss there to make it a 2-1 count on Garella out of Edwardsville, Illinois. He was a part of the All-Atlantic 10 team last year. One of the best players ever in the history of the St. Louis region. As the 2-1 comes in outside, ball 3. A lot of school records back at Edwardsville High School, which is in Illinois, but right near the Illinois-Missouri border, the East St. Louis area. He hit .570 his freshman season, single-season batting record for Edwardsville. 3-1 to Garella, swung on and mashed into left, right under Peyton Burdick. He makes the catch, but now tagging home is Lyle Lynn. He'll be in there safe. The throw doesn't even come in, and Bourne has its first run of the afternoon, now 4-1. As Barzell stays quiet at second, and the Kets trade a run for an out. 2 away now in the 4th.
Well, nothing bad there. He's excited to see Burdick show off his arm. He's got a cannon from the outfield. That's one of his strengths in his game, his defense, and the throw cut off by Brady Smith to try and keep the now lead runner at second base, and they do just that.
Here's Danny DiGiorgio. Pops up the first pitch from Zane. It's in the infield. Right side, Michael Tolia has it for out number 3. Minimal damage given up in that inning. Bourne had runners on second and third with no one out. Only plate 1 run on the sacrifice fly from Jake Garella, and it's 4-1 Kets on top as we head to the bottom of the 4th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Sunny day at Lowell Park and a sunny day for the Kettleers offense as they look to make it 3 in a row, 4-1. The Kettleers over the Braves as Brady Smith digs in and takes ball 1 from Kyle Martin.
I gotta say, we've seen some funky deliveries from pitchers on the mound. If you're watching on the live stream right now, get a load of Kyle Martin.
That's weird. That's a weird delivery. Ball 2. If you're listening on Mixler and you can't quite see, he steps back with his back foot, or with his front foot, the left foot, all the way back to the side of the mound. Then he clutches it up high, and then has this kind of short arm T-Rex delivery as he sends in strike one, a 2-1 count now to Brady Smith. We have seen some funky ones. We saw last night in Chatham, Brock Riley from Salem State had a weird delivery. And here comes the weird delivery. 2-1. Strike ball on the outside corner. It's a 3-1 count. So Kettle's up 4-1. Last run's coming in the bottom of the third on a 2-run home run from Michael Tolia. Here comes the 3-1 to Smith. Outside, ball 4, and a 5-pitch walk for Kyle Martin, who's on in relief of Zachary Peak. Martin out of Fordham University. 6'3", 210, right-hander with the funky delivery. One of the better arms out of the Fordham bullpen. He was freshman All-America by Collegiate Baseball his freshman season back in 2017. Distinguished honor for Mr. Martin, and now he'll face off against Peyton Burdick. Runner at first is Brady Smith. And Martin with the high Red Sox kicks and deals outside ball 1, and his motion out of the stretch is every bit as funky as the motion out of the windup. Holds the ball behind his back, brings it high in his glove, level with the brim of his cap. Now kicks and deals. It's a fastball outside. 2-0 count as Lyle Lynn, the catcher out of Arizona State, comes out for a chat with his pitcher. 2-0 count on Byrd, who's reached once today on a hit by pitch in the second inning. Bird's had his fair share of bruises this season, 7 hit by pitches. That's second on the Cape, tied with Matthew Barefoot of Hyannis. Logan Wyatt leads the way down in Orleans with 9 on the season. 2-0 count, straight up defense. First base, Spencer Brickhouse holding on the runner, who fakes a steal attempt and watches ball 3 come in. That's Brady Smith. Looked like he was off and running, but then digs in and heads back to the bag, trying to keep this defense on its toes. 3-0 the count to Byrd. Righty-righty matchup. Here's the pitch. It's a fastball down the middle, called for strike 1. Not as much velocity from Kyle Martin as we saw for Zachary Peak. Peak was peaking about 96 miles per hour. Upper 80s for Martin's fastball. 3-1, swung on by Byrd. It's a pop-up in foul territory. Right field line, Gorella coming over. He high points it, and it bounces off his glove and into foul territory. So just a dropped foul ball. It'll be a strike, but a chance to get the out there, and Gorella just kind of missed it. Not sure if he lost it in the sun, but it seemed like it bounced off his glove and into foul territory. So full count now on Peyton Burdick. Left fielder out of Wright State, batting in the 9-hole. Brady Smith dancing with his lead over at first. Here's the full count offering. Swung on, roped over the head of the third baseman Triolo and into left field. A base hit for Peyton Burdick, and the Kets in business with no one out in the 4th.
Bird's finding a way to get into rhythm with Mike Roberts not changing the lineup today. You have the same starting 9, and these guys can get into a little bit of a groove, and Byrd is one of them. Reaching base for the second time today. A nice poke into left, way out in front of a fastball, and took it with a lot of power. That's where he's at his best, pulling it to that left field side. And the Kettleers a little something cooking here in the 4th, trying to extend their 3-run lead.
Smith at second, Burdick at first, and the leadoff man, Will Robertson, at the dish. Here comes the pitch from Martin. It's a fastball down the pipe. Strike 1 to Robertson. Will is a .268 hitter this season, 3 homers, 20 batted in. He has hits in 9 of his past 10 games and runs batted in 3 of his last 4. As he takes the 0-1 high and tight, turning him back a bit, a 1-1 count. Last night, Robertson drove in 3 runs. He was 3 for 4 from the dish. In that 15-run explosion for the Kettleers in just 5.5 innings, the fog-shortened win over Chatham. 1-1 to Robertson. Ground ball up the middle. The second baseman flips it over to Prado at short for 1. Turn to first for 2. A 4-6-3 double play engineered by Fitzgerald, Prado, and Brickhouse. Now 2 outs, but the runner who was at second in Brady Smith moves over to third. And a chance for Zack Biermann to drive in run number 5. That's the 4th double play of the game. 4-6-3 double play that time. 2 double plays today from Cotuit, 2 from Borne. And now Biermann steps in with the runner at third. Smith, the lead in the shadows on the green grass in foul territory. And Biermann in the sun takes a first pitch way high and tight. Screamer that brushes him back. 1-0 count to Biermann. He's over 2 today with the ground out and the strikeout, but yesterday 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a 2-run home run in the second at Chatham. 1-0 to Biermann. Swung on, and it's a high fly ball, foul. On the left field side, it drops right near the Cotuit bullpen, where Deacon Metters is warming up. 1-1 count now with 2 outs to Zack Biermann. And after yesterday's game, Mike Roberts was exuberant that Biermann's back in the lineup and back in a big way with the home run yesterday. After taking a week off, he's back and looking sharp. As he sets to face Martin, the 1-1 is a fastball. Some high cheese taken for strike 2 as Zack Biermann steps out to refocus. 4-1, Kettleers over the Braves. In the bottom of the 4th, man on third, Brady Smith takes his lead. A 1-2 count with 2 outs to Biermann. Martin out of the stretch. High and outside, ball 2. Garrett Wolfe on deck and Michael Tolya in the hole. A pivotal game between the Kettleers and the Braves, with the Kets having a 2-game lead at the bottom of the West. Here comes the 2-2 to Biermann. Outside, ball 3. The Kettleers come into this one 16-16-3 with 35 points. You get 2 points for a win, 1 for a tie, none for a loss. Bourne 15-19-1. Top 4 go to the playoffs. A pivotal week with 3 games between these two. Payoff pitch, swing and a miss at some high cheese as Kyle Martin sets down Zack Biermann on strikes, and the Kettleers strand a runner at third, but they still lead it 4-1 as we head to the 5th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to Cotuit, top of the 5th inning, and Zane Collins settling in on the mound. He's only allowed 1 run on 6 hits against Bourne today. And the Kettleers with a 4-1 lead at home as the Bravos back at the plate. It's Tyler Fitzgerald, the leadoff man, to start things off, swinging a miss through a big sinker for strike 1. Anthony Prado on deck, then Jared Triolo. Collins, a left-hander, winds up and deals. His 0-1, sinker just on the outside corner, called strike behind the plate by Larry Rosenberg. 0-2 the count. Cotuit up by 3. Michael Tolya's 2-run home run, making it 4-0 after 3. And then Bourne put on 1 with the RBI sac fly from Jake Garrella back in the 4th inning. Sun's starting to set down here at Lowell Park. Beautiful Tuesday for some baseball as Cotuit looks for their 3rd win in a row. It's a foul ball on a curve ball from Fitzgerald. He's just able to get a piece and stay alive with a 1-2 count. Cotuit 1-2 against Bourne this season, looking to even up the series. 2 more against the Bravos this week. Thursday at home and then on the road on Sunday. Ground ball, left side, slow. A bad hop for Brady Smith at third. It makes a late throw just in the nick of time across the diamond for out number 1.
Good job, Brady Smith. That was a tough bounce right on the inset of the infield grass. He kind of had to pick it out to his right, but then made a solid throw, and he's looked good over there at third. It's been kind of a revolving door this season for the Kettleers. Eric Jones and Ryan Reynolds, who both had to leave the Cape due to some injuries, were solid at third, but now Brady Smith filling in well, and he'll probably be there for the rest of the season at the hot corner.
Anthony Prado digs in from the right side and takes a strike from Collins. 1 out here in the 5th, and the Kettleers up by 3. Zane missing outside with a sinker to even up the count. A little bit of shadows casting across the left side of the infield and into left field as Prado hacks at a high curveball and hits it out of play foul on the right side.
How about Zane Collins today? Just 1 run on 6 hits. It's been the situational pitching. At times, the Braves have been tagging him for some hits, but with runners on, he's been dynamite.
The 1-2 in the dirt, blocked by Wolfe, and that levels up the count on Prado. Collins making just his 4th start of the season. He's come back strong after a stint in the bullpen, developing with Jerry Weinstein, and looking to lead his team to a victory here. Missed in the dirt with a sinker, and a full count now on Prado. Here's a 3-2. Jacked high in the air, deep left center field as Ellis sprints back to the wall. He runs out of room. A solo home run for Anthony Prado, and the Braves have cut the deficit in half. 4-2 here in the 5th.
That one was absolutely smoked from Prado into a tough part to hit it out right near the Lowell Park scoreboard. It's 397 to center, maybe 380 or so to that area. No doubter from Prado, and a good response to cut the lead to 4-2.
So a 1-out solo home run to deep left center field from Anthony Prado, his 2nd home run of the season, making this a 4-2 ball game. As Jared Triolo will be the next batter. Still nobody on. And Collins will look to reset. First pitch to Triolo, down and in for ball 1. Triolo 2 for 2 on the day with 2 singles. And then, of course, big Spencer Brickhouse looming in the on-deck circle. The 1-0. Line shot right at Salvatore, who catches it at short for a quick out number 2.
Good positioning from Salvatore. He's made some nice defensive plays today, and that time fortunate to have the hard hit ball right at him.
Salvi has turned a couple of double plays. Makes a nice catch there. Now Spencer Brickhouse, who takes ball 1. Kettleers 4, Bourne 2. Solo home run from Anthony Prado, making this a 2-run ball game. Collins 1-0, swung on and missed. Nice sinker, cutting away from the left-handed bat in Brickhouse. A 1-ball, 1-strike count. The 1-1 in the dirt, ball 2. The 2-1 offering. There's a good sinker on the outside corner. Evening up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Spencer Brickhouse, who's 1 for 2 today with a single. First base from Eastern Carolina. The 2-2. Popped up high in the air, shallow right field. Corey Wood, the second baseman, backpedaling and will shift over to make the catch for out number 3. So no harm done here. Just the 1 home run from Anthony Prado. And Zane Collins with a nice little inning after that to make it a 4-2 ball game as we head to the home half of the 5th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Michael Tolya bringing us back in from break as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning at Lowell Park, and the Kettleers on top, 4-2 against Bourne. Tolya, big reason why, 2 for 2, with a double and a 2-run home run back in the 3rd inning. His 5th home run of the season, his 2nd in 2 days with a grand slam last night against Chatham. And he will bat 2nd in this inning as Garrett Wolforth leads things off. Duke Ellis will come to the plate 3rd. So Wolforth, Tolia, and Ellis to face the right-hander from Fordham, Kyle Martin, who's on for his 2nd full inning of work out of the bullpen, relieving the starter Zachary Peak, who went 2 2/3, allowing all 4 of the Cotuit runs on 7 hits. Deliberated delivery to Wolforth, who pops up a little flare into right field on the first pitch he sees. A leadoff single for the Kettleers here in the home half of 5.
This guy just finds ways to get on. He had a similar bloop single yesterday against Chatham. Now 2 for 3 today, spelling him 8 for 23 as a Kettleer. Such impressive stuff from Wolforth.
Wolforth gets on to start things off, and now Michael Tolya will be back at the plate. A 2-run home run to deep right field in the visitors' bullpen. That was always going to get out, a no-doubter, and the Kettleers up by 2 because of it. First pitch to him, slider in the dirt for ball 1. Wolforth on first with the leadoff single. Cotuit up by 2, and the Bourne infield at double play depth. Tolya, the big switch hitter, batting from the left side here. Martin comes set. The right-hander kicks and deals. Up high with a fastball, 2-0. So Bourne scoring 2 unanswered. 1 in the 4th on the sac fly from Garret, and then Prado's solo home run at the top of this 5th inning, cutting the Cotuit lead in half. The 2-0. Inside, and it gets off the glove of Lyle Lynn behind the plate. That will allow Wolforth to move up to 2nd base. Pass ball, and a 3-0 count on Tolya. First mistake we've seen today from Lyle Lynn, the returning catcher for Bourne from Arizona State. As Cotuit with a runner in scoring position now in the form of Garrett Wolforth. And it's for Tolia to try and convert. The 3-0. Ripped on the right side. Picked on a hot shot by Brickhouse at first, who will take it to the bag himself for out number 1. But a good piece of hitting from Tolia there to move up the runner. And Wolforth 90 feet away with 1 down here in the 5th.
Hard hit ball to the pull side. That's what Mike Roberts and the Kettleer coaching staff want to see from Tolya. Already with the double and home run today. No harm done there as he moves the runner over. And a chance for Ellis or Corey Wood, who's on deck, to drive Wolforth home.
Duke Ellis at the plate, and the Bourne infield will come in on the grass. 1 out and a runner on 3rd. Ket's up by 2. First pitch from Martin, fouled back. Ellis, 1 for 2 on the day with a bunt single back in the 2-run 2nd for Cotuit. His job is to hit a ball into the air, in the outfield at least, and try and bring home Wolforth. Martin, the right-hander from Fordham, on the mound with those red-high socks with the gray pants, looking in for a sign. All 4 Bourne infielders on the grass, and Martin will step off the rubber and ask for the signs once again. The right-hander with a very interesting delivery as he comes set, tapping his front foot from the stretch 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. Now the leg lift. Pitch out as they were trying to get Ellis, who might have thought about a bunt there. But it's ball 1, 1-1 count with a runner on 3rd and 1 out.
I always wonder with guys with a delivery like that, how do they learn? They just randomly do it and the coach takes it and runs with it? Does the coach teach them that specific delivery? Batting stances too. Remember Craig Counsell of the Brewers used to hold his arms straight and hold the bat over his head?
The 1-1. Ellis takes. Good off-speed pitch for strike 2. Now maybe a bunt out of play, as Ellis is arguably the best bunter on this Cotuit team. With Wolforth 90 feet away. Mike Roberts might have been thinking about pushing a run across, using the bunt. But a 1-2 count likely takes that out of the question. Infield still in, 1 out. Runner on third, the 1-2. Ellis, a big swing and a miss. Big strikeout for Kyle Martin. And Ellis not happy with that one there as he fails to connect for out number 2.
Yeah, that was good fastball there from Martin. High and inside, just had Ellis jammed where he couldn't really make contact, but he had committed to the swing too early. Corey Wood, a guy who had a knack for getting on base with the walks. He likes to punch it up the middle.
Runner on third still with 2 away. First pitch from Martin runs inside, ball 1. Woody 1 for 2 today. Had a double back in the third, but was left stranded. Wolfe led off the inning with a single. Has moved up all the way up to third. The 1-0. Nice slider on the outside corner. 1 ball and a strike to Corey Wood. Cotuit up 4-2 here in the bottom of the 5th. Looking for their first 3-game win streak of the season. Now would be a great time to get it. 1-1 way outside. Snapback throw down to third. Not in time as Wolfe dives back in safe. Lyle Lynn thought about getting him as there's a pitch out there as Wolfe able to get back in. Dirt on his pants. Now he takes his lead. Martin set, Wood in the batter's box. The 2-1 popped up, left center field. Barzell chasing it down in the alley. He will reach up and make the catch for out number 3. So the Kettleers strand a runner 90 feet from the plate as we move on to the 6th inning. Kettleers 4, Bourne 2 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Deacon Metters bringing us back from the break, and Deacon Metters is the pitcher on for the Kettleers to work the 6th. He comes on in relief of Zane Collins, who worked 5 innings, gave up just 2 runs on 7 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 1. Certainly a workmanlike effort for Zane Collins, but most importantly, he works 5 innings. We've documented how the bullpen is tired, a little short-staffed right now with some injuries. So Zane going 5 innings is a good sign for the Cats.
That's a good one. Last night with a shortened game, too, essentially another off night for the bullpen. Of course, Griffin McLarty came out of the pen, but it was sort of a de facto start as he came on for the last 4 1/3 innings. Impressive stuff from Griff last night. Zane doing a good job on the mound to start, going 5 innings. He exits as a potential winning pitcher. And now Deacon Metters, who will have a chance to try and quiet this Bourne lineup. 4-2 ball game, still a lot of baseball left to play, and the Kettleers will need sound pitching and defense to take home a win.
McLarty, usually a starter, but yesterday electric out of the pen. 4 innings, he gave up just 1 hit, no runs to an electric Chatham offense. I saw him by the water fountain before today's game and asked him about his performance, and he said especially the strikeout of Spencer Torkelson as Lyle Lynn fouls one off an 0-1 count. He struck out Spencer Torkelson looking in the 2nd inning, worked a 3-0 count to 3-2, and then froze him on a good breaking pitch. And he said that specific strikeout, he was talking to his dad later that night, about how that's one he'll always remember. He'll be able to tell his grandkids that he struck out Spencer Torkelson. And a great effort from Griffin McLarty in that 15-5 win. As ball one comes into Lyle Lynn, it's Lynn, Barzell, and Langer due up in this inning against Deacon Metters from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At the University of Alabama right now, entering his junior season. He fires in ball two. Deacon a 1-0 record this year, 4.68 ERA. He has walked just 9 and struck out 28 in 25 innings. Swing and a miss for strike 2 on Lyle Lynn. And Metters ahead 2-2 now. Straight up defense. Smith, Salvatore, Wood, and Tolia lining the infield. Here comes the 2-2 from Deacon. Swung on, poked out into right field. Robertson under it as he backtracks and makes the grab for out number 1. So one away now for Deacon Metters, who has the Alabama Crimson long sleeve shirt under his Kettleer jersey rolled up to the sleeves. That's something we didn't see at the beginning of the season. But now representing the Crimson Tide with that shirt, also the Alabama cleats. As Ashton Barzell comes up, first pitch he sees his way inside for ball 1. It's 4-2, Kettleers on top of the Braves in this pivotal matchup. As the 1-0 comes in, swung on, high pop-up, right field. Will Robertson tracking in, he makes the catch, there's 2 gone. So this is the first of 3 games in the next 6 days against Bourne for Cotuit. Bourne, Brewster, Bourne, Orleans, Brewster, Bourne. Those are the next 6 games for the Kettleers, who right now have a 2-game lead over Bourne for the final playoff spot in the West. And you better believe these next 3 games, starting with today, will decide the race. Here's David Langer, who takes ball 1 that just skips past Garrett Wolforth. A 1-0 count. Bourne, ice cold coming in. They've lost 9 of 11, and 3 of their last 4. The Kettleers have won 3 of 4, including 2 in a row, comeback wins on back-to-back nights against Wareham and Chatham. As the 1-0 comes into Langer, and it's a hot shot into left field, and off the wall in front of Peyton Burdick. Extra bases for Langer, who's wheeling into second, and he slides in feet first with a 2-out double. A laser into left field for David Langer, 2-out hitting for the Bourne Braves, and a chance to cut into the 4-2 lead with Jake Gorella coming up.
Langer got a hold of that one down the line. Key situation here. This is still a tight ball game.
4-2, Kettleers lead the Braves in the top of the 6th. 2 outs for Jake Gorella, who takes a curveball on the outside corner for strike 1. So 0-1 the count, 2 outs on Gorella, the St. Louis Billiken. He's 0 for 2 today, but the flyout in the 4th drove in the Braves' first run. Then an Anthony Prado home run for number 2, and now a high fly ball off the bat of Gorella in deep right field. Diving catch right on the foul line for Will Robertson, who lays out for the flyout, and all 3 outs in that inning made by Will Robertson to keep this game at 4-2 as we head to the home half of the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Hope you're doing well on this Tuesday afternoon / evening, whatever time zone you're in. Thanks for spending it with us. Kettleer Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And the Kets on top of the Braves 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th, and it is trivia time. I never gave the answer for last night's trivia at Chatham because of the fog out, but Sam got it wrong. The answer was J.D. Drew, as the best batter in the ACC, in case you're keeping track of the trivia from last night. And now let's get into tonight's trivia. You ready?
I'm ready.
Alrighty. So in 1946, we're going way back, when the Cape Cod Baseball League reformed after World War II, the town of Bourne was represented by 2 teams, one of which was the Bourne Canalmen. What was the name of the other team? Is it A, the Sandwich Athletics, B, the Otis Pants Factory, C, the Sagamore Clouders, or D, the Buzzards Bay Bridgemen? Those are your 4 options as Mike Salvatore steps up. The leadoff hitter takes ball 1 outside from Kyle Martin. 4-2 Kettleer lead, bottom of the 6th. Go to Twitter at Cotuit Kettleers, twitter.com/Cotuit Kettleers. You can answer the question there. In 1946, what was the other name of the team that represented the town of Bourne when the CCBL reformed after the Second World War? Sandwich Athletics, Otis Pants Factory, Sagamore Clouders, or the Buzzards Bay Bridgemen?
It's not D.
Why so quick?
That sounds like something you just made up. Sounds like something you just made up for alliterative name. Bridgeman? Really? Bridgeman? There's no way.
Salvatore, ground ball, diving stop by the third baseman Triolo. Throw across the diamond, stretch from Brickhouse in time to get the out. An unbelievable defensive play from Jared Triolo, and the stretch from Spencer Brickhouse, and now I think they're reversing course, or maybe considering it. Mike Salvatore, under the direction of first base coach Brady North, staying on first base, as now the 3 umpires come in to conference. It was the first base umpire, Mike Collier, who initially said out, but now he reverses course and says safe, indicating with his arms, waving them to the right, saying that Spencer Brickhouse was off the bag when he caught it. So an infield single from Mike Salvatore, and nearly one of the defensive plays of the year, as Spencer Brickhouse is also right now being checked out by one of the Bourne trainers. He almost did the splits, Lyle Lockhart Jr. style, stretching for that one. But an infield single for Mike Salvatore, and while Harvey Shapiro conferences with Mike Collier, the first base umpire, so you think Buzzards Bay Bridgeman?
No, you made that up. You made that up, and you put it, yeah, I don't know.
I'll allow you to think that. All you want. You can think whatever you want.
That is so made
Bridgeman.
up. Yeah, no,
the
that's
men
a clever
of the bridge.
name.
The men of the bridge.
I think that's a clever name on your part, but you made it up. I know what the answer is.
All right.
I know what it is.
You're gonna
I'm not
say
going
it?
to say it right now.
You're not going to say it.
Say it right now. Now, what's kind of throwing me off here is that every single one of these choices, you had a lot of fun with this question because you had the chance to make up 3 of these 4 choices, or at least 2 of them, at least one. Sandwich Athletics is very appealing. Otis Pants Factory, Sagamore Clouders. We put the Sagamore team in another question that was Bourne themed earlier in the year. Remember that? And I think it was just smoke. I think you even said they don't even exist. But I'm not sure. They make a return. Who knows?
Here's Brady Smith. Runner going, but a foul ball off of Brady Smith himself. 0-1 count as Salvatore retreats back to first. To recap, Salvatore's on with the infield single, initially ruled an out on an excellent defensive stop and throw from the third baseman Jared Triolo. Call reversed, Salvatore at first, no one out, Brady Smith up here in the bottom of the 6th. He's got an 0-1 count, and Sam right now trying to dissect, parse through these 4 options.
I think I have my answer.
When are you going to spit it out?
After this pitch.
Here's the pitch, runner going again, swing and a miss. The throw from Lyle Lynn down to second is in time. He got the runner by a mile. And out number 1 comes in as Mike Salvatore is caught stealing. And now Sam will deliver the answer.
B, Otis Pants Factory.
Wow, B, Otis Pants Factory. All right. And any reason why?
They were calling to me. They were
Pants
calling
Factory.
Otis Pants Factory.
All right. 0-2 the count. Here comes the pitch to Brady Smith. It's just outside off the plate. A 1-2 count on a 92-mile-an-hour heater from Kyle Martin. So Sam guessing B, the Otis Pants Factory, as the other team that represented the town of Bourne. Here's the 1-2 to Smith, outside ball 2. So the Bourne Braves didn't become the Bourne Braves until the 1980s, entering the Cape League modern era. An expansion team along with the Brewster Whitecaps. As the 2-2 comes into Smith, and he takes it for ball 3 again outside, and it's a full count. So give us your input. We'll give you the answer in the bottom of the 7th, right after the stretch. Answer on Twitter. We'll see if Sam got it. Otis Pants Factory, his guess. Right now, the Sandwich Athletics have the lead on Twitter. As the payoff pitch comes in inside for ball 4, and Brady Smith on with the 1-out walk.
It was unfortunate that Mike Salvatore got thrown out trying to steal second. But a good job by Brady Smith to get on. He's reached it all 3 times at the plate. A couple of walks. Now let's see if Byrd can keep it going.
Here's Peyton Burdick. He's reached twice today, a hit by pitch and a walk to his name. He steps in and takes ball 1 outside, a 1-0 count to Byrd. The Wright State Raider in the home white pinstripe uniform. The back right part of his pants dirtied up from the infield dirt from a slide earlier today as he launches this pitch high and far, but hooking foul on the left side as it disappears into the trees. Wow, that was an absolute missile off the bat of Byrd as he laughs stepping back into the batter's box. Crushed it, but out in front, and it's strike 1.
Almost had it that time. Wow. That was a rocket.
One of the longest foul balls you'll see. As Byrd steps back in, a 1-1 count with the runner at first. Brady Smith takes his lead, tiptoeing right on the line as he watches ball 2 come into Byrd, a fastball low. It's a 2-1 count. If you're just joining us, welcome on in. Kettleers on top of the Braves in this first of 3 games between the two sides this week. It's 4-2 Cotuit here in the 6th. Now the 2-1 to Burdick. Little half swing, he went around for strike 2. The Kets have 4 runs on 10 hits, no errors. 2 runs on 8 hits with no errors for Borne. Kettleers scored 2 runs in the second, highlighted by an RBI triple from Salvatore, and then 2 in the third on a 2-run home run from Michael Tolya. 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch to Burdick. He pokes it foul on the right field side, and the count stays 2-2. Kettleers looking to win 3 in a row for the first time this season. Hard to believe, but this is a team without any sort of streak this season. If you consider a streak, like I do, to be the same result more than 2 times in a row, the Kettleers are void of those. As the 2-2 comes into Byrd, he swings on it, sends a high fly ball shallow right field. Jake Garella roams in and makes the catch. So no 3-game winning streaks this season. No 3-game losing streaks this season. It's been win, loss, loss, win, win, loss. Just trading those wins and losses. But with the win today, the Kettleers would have their first 3-game win streak of the season. And now Harvey Shapiro is going to make a pitching change with the lefty Will Robertson coming up. The righty Kyle Martin will take a seat. Pitching change for Borne with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back with more Cotuit Kettleer baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. pitching change for the Bravos as Kyle Martin exits. Trey Vanderwide enters, the southpaw out of South Carolina upstate by way of Longwood, Florida. He comes in with a 3.98 ERA, 12 strikeouts and 9 walks. He's faced the Kettleers in each of the previous 3 games this season that these two have played. 5 innings this season against the Kettleers. And he has given up 1 earned run on the season to Cotuit. Coming in now to face off against Will Robertson, Harvey Shapiro favoring the lefty-lefty matchup. A runner at first, that's Brady Smith, and it's a 4-2 Kettleer lead with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Home plate umpire in his powder blue uniform, Larry Rosenberg, dusting off home plate, and we're ready to continue action on a wonderful Tuesday evening on the Cape. Hope you're having a good one wherever you join us from. Entering the dog days of July. Hard to believe this season coming to a screeching halt. 4 more home games in the summer of 2018, at least as far as the regular season is concerned. But Kettleers looking to extend it with the playoff run. First pitch to Will Robertson. He swings right through it. An 0-1 count from Trey Vanderwide. Robertson 0 for 3 today. Comes in with a hit in 9 of his previous 10 games, turning his season around. The leadoff man for Cotuit. Smith takes his lead at first, the 0-1. Breaking pitch pinned on the outside corner for a called strike 2. Clouds overhead now, some darker gray clouds rolling in. Right now the sky about half blue and half gray, with the midpoint right down the middle of the field. There's a ball in the dirt, and the runner's going to go. Brady Smith takes off and slides in safe at second base. Taking advantage with some aggressive base running. The ball didn't get behind Lyle Lynn. It just kind of got away in front of him. Bouncing in the dirt, Brady Smith takes second base. And now a 1-2 count to Will Robertson.
Opportunistic base running from Smith there, making sure to get up into scoring position, and now the Kettleers a chance to make it a 2-out RBI situation, which would be much needed. A 2-run ball game. Bourne is stalling a little bit of the momentum back at the plate. Cotuit only 3 hits since going up 4-0. Let's see if Robertson can get his first one of the ball game.
1-2 the count, 2 outs, and Brady Smith a tiptoe lead at second, right in front of the shortstop in Prado. 1-2, but caught from the second baseman Tyler Fitzgerald in perfect position to make the play, and he ends the inning. So the Kettleers get a few runners on, but Salvatore caught stealing. Brady Smith stranded on that out, and the Kets still on top, 4-2 as we head to the 7th. We'll be back with more Kettleer baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Top of the 7th, and a pitching change for the Kettleers as Garrett Gale comes on in relief of Deacon Metters, and we'll send it down to the 3rd member of our crew, the always lovely Mason Horodisky.
Well, I love to hear the always lovely, but guys, if there's one team that the Kettleers have to be paying close attention to the rest of the year, it has to be this Bourne Brave squad. They are realistically the only team that has any possibility of keeping the Kettleers out of the playoffs, even though the Kets are up by 4 points right now. And these teams will be very familiar with each other by the end of this week. Including today, they will play each other three times total this week. That's today, Thursday, and on Sunday. And in between those days, the Kettleers will also be facing the Brewster Whitecaps, a struggling Brewster Whitecaps, twice, and the Orleans Firebirds once, who the Kettleers have had their number for the entire year. That said, guys, I think the Kettleers are starting to see the stars aligning for a possible playoff berth going forward. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Mace. That's Mason Hordisky, third member of our crew. And certainly an important week for the Kettleers. Fortunate that they get maybe an easier strength of schedule down the stretch. Last place Bourne 3 times, last place Brewster a couple times. And also, how about the Brewster Whitecaps? Only 2 points back of the all-important 4th spot. As the first batter seen by Garrett Gale is seen with the ball hitting his wrist. It's Danny DiGiorgio who takes a fastball on the upper part of his wrist. The hit by pitch, he'll take first base. So Garrett Gale on in relief of Deacon Metters. Deacon pitched an inning, gave up 1 hit but no runs. A clean slate for him. And Garrett Gale comes on in, the Kettleers' closer this season, the second best ERA on the team, and nearly perfect 0.58. He's given up just 1 earned run on the season. And the 6'1", 200-pound junior righty out of Rice University comes on for maybe a 3-inning save, although maybe we'll just see him pitch an inning or 2. And then another Kettleer arm could come in. Some action in the bullpen still. Looks like Ryan Leffner warming up as Tyler Fitzgerald fouls off the first pitch. An 0-1 count. It's 4-2. Kettleers lead it. 4 runs on 10 hits for Cotuit, 2 runs on 8 hits for Bourne. Top of the 7th. An 0-1 count with the runner at first for Fitzgerald. Garrett Gale with the mullet just peeking out of the back of his Cotuit hat. Sends in a slider outside for strike 1. So as we look at the standings, Mason was talking about the Kettleer strength of schedule. And on the east side, right now, YD, Chatham, Harwich, and Orleans, the top 4. But Brewster nipping at the heels with 23 points, just a game back of Orleans as strike 2 comes in. The only team that has clinched a playoff spot is the YD Red Sox with 46 points. They lead the Cape, and with a 5-0 win against Wareham today, they bumped up that total to 48 points, 22-11. Here's the 1-2. It dips outside, a 2-2 count. And as our PA announcer Roy Reese pointed out to us about a week ago, since the Cape League restructured its playoff format in 2010, not once has a first-place team in either the East or West won the championship. Here's the 2-2, swing and a miss for strike 3. Garrett Gale gets Tyler Fitzgerald, just the second Bourne strikeout of the day, and it's out number 1 in the 7th.
Nice job by Gale to rebound from a hit batsman to lead off the inning. Velocity, the name of his game. Interesting seeing him in this situation. We saw Coach Weinstein do this back in the win over Wareham, the extra inning game, where he came in back in the 8th. Now here in the 7th with a 2-run lead for Cotuit. Don't think this is a 9-out save situation, but who knows?
He sends in a strike to Prado. So isn't that fascinating? The top seed in either division since 2010 has never won the championship in this format where 8 of the 10 teams get in. It's kind of anyone's game once the playoffs start. If the season ended today, the top seeds would be Hyannis in the West and YD in the East. Even that YD three-peat from 2014 to 16, they were never the first-place team in the East. Always the 2 or 3 seed.
Pretty crazy. Just goes to show all you got to do is win to get in.
1-1 to Prado. Swing and a miss on a pitch way outside. Looks silly there, and it's a 1-2 count. Fans, remember to answer our trivia question. Twitter, you can go at Cotuit Kettleers. About the Bourne teams in 1946 when the Cape Cod League reformed after the war. 1-2 from Garrett Gale, outside, ball 2. One of the 2 teams that represented the town of Bourne was the Bourne Canalmen. What was the other team's name? Sandwich Athletics, the Otis Pants Factory, the Sagamore Clouders, or the Buzzards Bay Bridgemen? Give us your answer. We'll give it to you in the bottom of this inning. Here's a fly ball off the bat of Prado. Into right field. Robertson charging in. He makes the play for out number 2. Sam going with B, the Otis Pants Factory. And we'll see if that comes true.
My guess. Feeling pretty good about it, actually, as it marinates here.
Well, you'll find out to start the next frame.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait. You were making it sound like this one was the question of all questions.
Jared Triolo digs in and takes ball 1. Triolo, the Houston Cougar. Now a battle of Texas kids with Garrett Gale out of Rice and Triolo out of Houston. Triolo, one of the returning Braves out of Austin, Texas, as he takes ball 2 outside from Lake Travis High School. Garrett Gale from Cypress, Texas, staying in the state with Rice. And Triolo, the Houston kid, with a 2-0 advantage right now. It's a 4-2 Kettleer lead in the top of the 7th. Runner at first is Danny DiGiorgio. He's been there since the first pitch of this inning. That hit him on the left wrist. And Garrett Gale getting some words of advice from Garrett Wolforth as he takes the rosin bag and slams it back down on the mound, toes the rubber, and we're ready for the 2-0. Here's Gale's pitch. It's a fastball in there, 94 miles per hour for strike 1. An all-Garrett battery right now. Garrett Gale and Garrett Wolforth partnering up to try and get out number 3 and keep the Kets on top 4-2. Here comes the 2-1. Swung on, kind of jammed near the hands of Triolo and sent back foul. A 2-2 count.
Big spot for Gale here. Triolo and then Brickhouse looming on deck. You want to try and sit down this batter. That way you don't have to worry about going up against Brickhouse with multiple runners on.
Here's the 2-2 with 2 outs. Swung on and roped into center, charging in Ellis. It drops at his feet for a base hit. A single that will see DiGiorgio advance to third. He goes first to third on that bloop single. And now Bourne really in business with 2 runners on, 2 outs in a 2-run ball game, and big Spencer Brickhouse looming.
Wow, there you go. Duke Ellis playing a little farther back in center field, and that's why he wasn't able to come on and get that catch. Alert base running by DiGiorgio to move all the way up to third in a huge spot. Spencer Brickhouse at the plate, Garrett Gale on the mound. Love the matchup.
Jerry Weinstein sensing the moment. He'll trot out for a chat with Garrett Gale. Weinstein, no windbreaker today. Hot day, about 80 degrees in Cotuit. He's got the bright red stirrups as he chats with Gale. It's a 4-2 Kettleer lead. Top of the 7th, a runner on third, that's DiGiorgio. At first is Triolo and Spencer Brickhouse, who leads the Cape. Or second in the Cape, rather, with 24 RBIs. Has 4 home runs on the season, was the All-Star Game MVP in the 4-3 West win. One of the most dangerous, potent hitters on the Cape will come up. The biggest at-bat of this ballgame so far. Brickhouse has been so dynamic this season, but kind of slumping into this game. Hitting just 154 with no home runs in his last 10. But looking to break that here with runners on the corners, 2 outs. Gale against Brickhouse. Here comes the first pitch to Brickhouse. It's a heater outside for ball 1. So the Kets led it 4-0 in the third after Michael Tolia's 2-run blast. But a run from Borne in the 4th and the 5th make it 4-2. 1-0. Popped up in foul territory, left side. Here comes Brady Smith on the edge of the dugout. He reaches over and makes the catch. An important one for out number 3. And Bourne strands 2 runners. Garrett Gale gets out of the jam. And the Kets preserve a 4-2 lead. Time to stretch here at Lowell Park. We'll be back with the bottom of the 7th in just a moment. Well, welcome back to Lowell Park. A rousing rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Hope you had a good 7th inning stretch. And the Kettleers are on top 4-2 as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Zack Biermann, Garrett Wolforth, and Michael Tolya will bat here 2-3-4 against the lefty reliever in Trey Vanderwide. And now time to circle back to our broadcast trivia question, which was in 1946 when the Cape Cod Baseball League reformed. After World War II, the town of Bourne was actually represented by 2 teams, one of which was the Bourne Canalmen. So my question, what was the other team's name? Was it A, the Sandwich Athletics, B, the Otis Pants Factory, which was Sam's guess, C, the Sagamore Clouders, or D, the Buzzards Bay Bridgemen? The leading vote getter on Twitter is the Sagamore Clouders with 33%. Receiving the fewest votes with 17% was the Otis Pants Factory, which the man to my right selected.
I'm feeling bad about it now.
Oh, you were riding a high earlier.
I'm feeling bad about it.
Here comes the 1-0 to Zack Biermann as Vanderwide kicks in, deals, swung on, and smoked but foul off to the right side, a 1-1 count. All right, so you're feeling bad.
Yeah, just give me the answer, man.
You want me to peel off the Band-Aid?
Do it.
You're wrong. The answer is C, the Sagamore Clouders. 1-1 to Biermann, swing and a miss, strike 2. The Sagamore Clouders.
What have I done?
So you were right that I made up the Buzzards Bay Bridgemen.
Yeah.
That was the only one I made up.
I figured.
Sandwich Athletics was a team, 1-2, tailback foul, but Sandwich is its own town, so it wasn't represented by the town of Bourne. Otis Pants Factory was kind of made up. I don't have as creative of a mind to just make up the name Pants Factory. First the 1-2 from Vanderwide, swung on, chopped right side. Fitzgerald gloves it and throws to first. There's 1 out here in the 7th. So one of the teams after World War II was the Orleans Pants Factory. So there was no team in Otis, and I was hoping to get you on that, because we also had another trivia question earlier in the year with Otis in it, where Bourne beat Otis 45-1. That was the biggest demolition in Cape League history, and Otis is a military base near Bourne. So in theory, they could be represented by the town of Bourne. As Garrett Wolforth takes ball 1, but the answer, the Sagamore Clouders. You know what a clouder is? Because I didn't.
I do not know.
Apparently a clouder is one who clouts, which is striking. Now 1-1 count as Wolforth swings through the second pitch. So clouting is apparently like making contact. So like hitting a home run is a clout. So the Sagamore Clouders. That was the team. The Bourne Canalmen and the Sagamore Clouders. 1-1 to Wolforth. Clouded but foul. Down the third base line, now a 1-2 count.
Is that now in our broadcast vocab?
Yeah, this one clouded deep to right.
See ya!
1-2 count right now, 1 out to Wolforth. And if you knew your Bourne geography, you could have got this one easy, because Sagamore is within the town of Bourne. As the 1-2 comes into Wolforth, then he chops it right to the shortstop, Anthony Prado, who stabs and throws to first. There's 2 gone in the 7th. So Sagamore is not a town, it's a CDP, a census-designated place within the town of Bourne. So their team was representing Bourne as well.
Okay, I see. I should have used some more context clues. Otis Pants Factory. I was feeling bad after it. Oh,
well, I don't blame you, because there's no way I could make up the Otis Pants Factory. That's beyond my creative capabilities. As Michael Tolya launches one way foul out in front of it down the left field line, an 0-1 count. Tolya batting from the right side here for the first time today against Vanderwide, the switch hitter out of UCLA. 2 for 3 today with a 2-run home run in the 4th. 0-1 to Tolya. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Tolya, one of 2 switch hitters in the Kettleer lineup today. Garrett Wolforth, the switch hitter. Same with Michael Tolya. Brian Roberts, son of Mike Roberts, was a switch hitter in his long MLB career. Here's the 0-2 with 2 outs, taken high and outside. There was an interesting article I found online about switch hitters. It's going way down in the major leagues. Chipper Jones, who's regarded as maybe the best ever, when he came in the league as the 1-2 comes to Tolia, swing and a miss, strike 3, drop third strike, tag applied for out number 3. Switch hitters are down from 20% when he entered the league to 13%, so turning into a lost art as the switch hitter Tolia gets struck out, and a 1-2-3 inning for Trey Vanderweide. It's a tight one as we enter the home stretch. Go into the 8th. Sam Niederman on the play-by-play. It's Cotuit 4, Bourne 2 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Eighth inning at Lowell Park, and the Kettleers up 4-2 on the Bourne Braves. Garrett Gale still on the mound, the right-hander from Rice. The closer for Cotuit coming on in the 7th. And now we'll try and bridge the gap to the 9th as Steven Schock is up in the bullpen getting ready. Big Donkey might be on for the save in the 9th, but for now the 8th, Lyle Lynn, Ashton Barzell, and David Langer due up for Bourne, down by 2. As Gale deals in a first pitch fastball at the letters for ball 1. Cotuit 4 runs on 10 hits, no errors. Gale's 1-0, bounced high towards third. Taken by Smith, solid throw on to first, and the leadoff man retired. 2 runs on 9 hits and no errors for Bourne, who are desperate for a win today. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Down by 2 games in the standings against Cotuit for that 4th and final playoff spot in the West. And even though 2 more matchups are on the docket this week between these 2 sides, this first one very important as Gale gets ahead in the count 0-1 on Ashton Barzell. Good 93-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees. Sun is set here at Lowell Park, some clouds overhead. High and away with another fastball, 1-1 the count. 4-2, Cotuit lead with 1 out here in the 8th. Gale, the right-hander, at 6'1" from the belt to the plate. Hard fastball pinned on the inside corner, strike 2. Right-hander who has worked a sub-1 ERA this season. With the locks coming out of the maroon cap, his 1-2. Change up in the dirt as Barzell lays off of it. Ball 2. Tolia's 2-run blast, that's the difference. Came all the way back in the 3rd. Bourne scored 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and they're down to 5 more outs as Barzell rips the 2-2 back foul to the fence. Good crowd on hand. Nice breeze now. The sun has gone down. A little more comfortable to watch the ball games. It was pretty hot and muggy when we first began in the upper 70s. The 2-2. Ooh, excuse me, check swing, and a foul ball that lines into the Bourne dugout on the first base side, and I think that hit an assistant coach. Scary, scary moment as a Bourne assistant coach was hit by that foul ball, maybe in the head, as Craig Moody, the Cotuit athletic trainer, rushes over to check on him. The Bourne trainer over there as well. Harvey Shapiro coming back from third base to check on his assistant. Hopefully everybody okay down there. There is a foul ball from Ashton Barzell's bat that zipped directly into the first base dugout, and I think it hit a Bourne assistant square on the head. That's the concern here.
And the good news is he was crouched down low and then stood up, and now he's sitting on the edge of the dugout, clearly awake and talking to the trainers.
Kettle's players in the field looking on. A couple of them have squatted down into a catcher's position. Everybody hoping for the best here as a Bourne assistant coach just got nailed by a foul ball off the bat of Ashton Barzell. Both trainers still checking on the coach. Can't get an ID on him down in the dugout. Not sure exactly who it is. Lowell Park falling quiet here as everybody looks on, hoping for the best in this injury situation. Harvey Shapiro has now emerged from the dugout. It looks like he's telling his young player, Ashton Barzell, to shake it off. Nothing you can control about that. Barzell will go back to the batter's box and try and reset. The assistant coach looks to be okay as he gives a nice pat on the back to Craig Moody and claps around the ballpark as he gets up and he's all right. Scary moment there after a ricocheted foul ball hits a Bourne assistant coach in the head, but he's back in his same spot on the dugout, ready to play ball, and he'll troop on. 1 out here in the 8th, a 2-2 count at the plate, and the Kettleers up by 2 runs late. Gale comes set, now to the plate. Just slowing away with a 95-mile-an-hour heater.
Good to see him laughing it off, too, with one of his fellow assistant coaches, now getting some fist bumps from players. Picked up his notepad right away to get back to work.
The full count pitch. Outside, he walked him. A 1-out walk to Ashton Barzell, who will take the free pass. And a tying run coming to the plate, and David Langer. So the leadoff man retired on the ground. And now pitching coach Jerry Weinstein will come out of the dugout after the 1-out walk to Barzell. And he will call to the bullpen. That is it for Garrett Gale. He goes an inning and a third. He's responsible for the base runner on first. And we'll have a new pitcher on for Cotuit when we come back after this break. 4-2 Kettleers here in the 8th on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Swept in for ball 1. So Steven Schock, the All-Star, who came on for 2/3 of an inning in the All-Star game, retired the 2 batters he faced. Looked pretty good out there in Harwich. 2-1 with a .51 earned run average this season. As he misses away, 2-0 the count on Langer. His 15th game that he's pitched in this year, he's got that rubber submarine arm. And it looks like he might be the go-to guy for the Kettleers out of the pen to be a closer. He's been previously a setup man. The 2-0 to Langer. Fastball on the inside corner, strike one.
As he probably should be. He's a returner, pitched a few times last year, so he knows the Cape League grind down the stretch. And he's been so good this year. An all-star, was perfect in the all-star game, getting 2 outs in the 2 batters he faced late in that one. Last time he gave up an earned run, June 17th, over a month ago.
Infield at double play depth, the 2-1. Upstairs to Langer, 3 balls and 1 strike to count. Runner on first in Barzell. He was walked by Gale, 1 out here in the 8th. Kettleers with a 2-run advantage. 5 more outs to secure their 3rd consecutive victory. Salvatore and Wood up the middle. Schock with the 3-1. Good fastball on the outside corner. Only at 84 miles an hour, but that submarine delivery is what makes him so tricky to hit off of. And he gets the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Langer. Some clouds overhead, wind starting to blow. Schock looks in. Now to the runner as he comes set. Runner going. And a foul ball. No, fair ball towards first base. Little ground ball taken by Tolya. He was able to get it to the back himself for the second out of the inning as Barzell moves up to second.
Looked for a second, and I think that's what you were thinking, was that it hit off of him. But apparently hit nothing, just taking a curve to first, moving the runner over. But an important out for Cotuit.
Good job by Stephen Schock. Langer moves up the base runner to second, so Barzell in scoring position. 2 away for the number 8 batter, Jake Garrella, right fielder from St. Louis University. He bats from the right side here. Kettleers up by 2. First pitch from Schock, whipped out a play foul. Bourne knocking on the door. They've scored 2 unanswered and trying to tie this ball game up. They need it. Trailing Cotuit by 2 games in the standings. The Kettleers trying to bury the Bravos here at home. Schock, a deep shoulder shrug. Now the 0-1. Good fastball on the outside corner. Boy, is that tough to hit. 0-2. Outfield at normal depth. Infield playing straight up as well. Runner on second with 2 outs. Schock at the belt. Now is 0-2. Just a little upstairs as Garrella lays off of it for ball 1. 4-2, Kettleers on top. Trying to clamp down here for the final 5 outs, or 4 outs now of this ball game. Schock ready is 1-2. Swing and a miss. Got him on the outside corner. Stephen Schock doing what he's done all season long. Gets the strikeout of Garrella, and the runner stranded at second base as we head to the middle of the 8th. Kettleers 4, Braves 2. As our coverage of Cotuit Kettleers baseball continues here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 8th inning at Lowell Park. In Cotuit, a 4-2 advantage over the Bourne Braves. Duke Ellis to lead things off, followed by Corey Wood and Mike Salvatore. The left-hander from South Carolina upstate, Trey Vanderwide, still on the mound, dealing in a first-pitch strike. Kettleers escaping with a runner on second base. Steven Schock comes on for the final 2 outs of the 8th, and he'll figure to be the pitcher on for the save in the 9th. First, Cotuit looking for some insurance here. The middle of the order up. Ellis, Wood, and Salvatore. A couple of players that know how to get on base. Ellis leading the team in on-base percentage with a .406 clip. He's 1 for 3 today with a bunt single as he fouls off an inside fastball. Down to the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cotuit looking to even the season series against Bourne. 2-1 in favor of the Bravos at this point, but the Kettleers looking for their first home victory against Bourne in just the second matchup here at LP this season. The 1-2 way outside as Lyle Lynn, the catcher, went flailing for it like a hockey goalie. And he's able to catch it on one hop in the other batter's box. 2-2 to Duke. Bourne infield straight up. Outfield as well. The 2-2. Ellis pops it up towards deep left center field. Barzell tracking into the gap, and he makes the catch on the run for out number 1 here in the home half of the 8th. So leadoff man retired by Vanderwide, and now Corey Wood will get a chance. And the Kettleers up by 2.
The Kettleers have been unable to step on the throat of this Bourne team, and that's been a theme throughout the season, is scoring a few runs in 1 inning or in 2 innings like they did today, but then goose eggs from the 4th up until now. But Bourne hasn't converted. Some good pitching from the Kettleers has kept them in the lead.
First pitch strike from Vanderwide on Wood. Kettleers have not scored since that 3rd inning. Michael Tolia's 2-run home run. That's the difference here in the 8th. Fastball that bounces to the plate. 1 ball and a strike on Corey Wood. Woody 1 for 3 today with a double back in the 3rd. Flew out to center field his last time up. 1-1, that's way off the plate. 2 balls and a strike to the Coastal Carolina infield. As you can hear a car alarm going off back in the Lowell Park parking lot.
Oh,
boy, is
shut
that thing blaring, yeah.
it's in the front row. It's like the first car
Big
in the
old
lot.
Toyota. Down and away with the 2-1. That's ball 3 on Wood. Somebody got to their keys in time and stopped the alarm. A big old white Toyota on one of the first rows here in the splash zone. Daring by that person who ever drives the vehicle. The 3-1. Walked him. 5-pitch walk drawn by Corey Wood. His specialty in his first one of the ball game, his 22nd walk on the season. Good enough for 3rd best in the Cape League, and the Kettleers with a 1-out base runner. So after the car alarm has been taken care of, the Kettleers trying to take care of Bourne here in the bottom of the 8th. Up 4-2. A chance for Mike Salvatore with some insurance. First pitch to him, big cut and a miss at a fastball down and in. Have a hit is the rally cry over the loudspeaker. Of course, that's the great Al Gladstone, who is the peppiest Kettleer fan around, if you ask many here at Lowell Park. Leads the cheers, leads the have a hit chant in between innings every once in a while. And they found a way to record an audio clip, and that now blares out every once in a while. So we'll see if Salvi can do just that here. Runner on first, Wood. Vanderwide's 0-1. Golfed high in the air. Shallow center field as Barzell tracks in and makes the play for out number 2. So 2 flyouts to Ashton Barzell in center field. And Brady Smith will have another go at the plate. Runner on first with 2 outs.
It's getting dark. Dark gray clouds continue to roll in. And if this one were a tie ball game, it would certainly be in danger of ending in a tie. Luckily, the Kettleers on top, and I think another half inning is about the most we can go.
First pitch to Smith. Off the end of the bat, foul behind the home plate. No lights at Lowell Park, obviously, as many of the Kettleers faithful know. The Kettleers up by 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. The last time that we played here in Cotuit, game was called in 8 innings against the Chatham Anglers, a 10-9 Chatham victory. Vanderwide, the southpaw, will lift the leg and check on Wood, who wasn't getting off the first base. Of course, that's subject to much controversy, that game being called short, as the Kettleers didn't have a chance to try and pick themselves up after blowing a 7-0 lead. But in front here, runner going as the 0-2 swing and a miss from Smith. The throw down to second, not in time as Lyle Lynn can't believe it. He thought he had Corey Wood, but a stolen base for Wood, who slides in head first and gets up into scoring position with 2 away.
Good job, Corey Wood sliding under the tag. That's 2 stolen bases today for Cotuit. And the Brady Smith poke into the outfield would give the Kettleers some nice insurance.
Time called on the diamond as Lynn will come out from behind home plate and check on Trey Vanderwide, his pitcher. Try and see how to go about this 0-2 pitch that's upcoming to Brady Smith. Brady reaching in all 3 plate appearances today, a single and 2 walks. Looking to drive in Corey Wood from second and add on to the 2-run advantage for Cotuit. Bottom of the 8th inning. Dark clouds overhead now. Starting to get dark at Lowell Park. The 0-2. Trying to change the eye level with a high fastball. Here, Jerry Weinstein from the dugout saying, "Here we go, Smitty." As Brady wiggles the bat, the 1-2. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Drop third strike as Lynn will throw down to first in time to retire the side. So the Kettleers strand a base runner in scoring position as we head to the 9th. Kettleers up 4-2 on Bourne. Stephen Schock will be out for the last 3 outs of this ball game. Don't go anywhere. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Ninth inning at Lowell Park, and it's big donkey time. Stephen Schock will try for his first save of the 2018 summer as Cotuit is up 4-2, and Spencer Brickhouse to lead things off, Danny DiGiorgio, the number 9 batter, to lead things off for the Bravos as the first pitch strike thrown in by Schock, and he gets off to a good start here in the 9th. So 3 more outs to go for the Kettleers, looking for their first 3-game win streak on the season. 9-1-2 due up DiGiorgio, Fitzgerald, and Prado. As the 0-1, fastball just a little low from Schock. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Bourne leadoff hitter. DiGiorgio 0 for 2 today, a hit batsman his last time up. The 1-1, opposite field fly, but it goes foul down the right field line. Advantage Schock, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kettleers scoring 2 in the second and 2 in the third. Salvatore an RBI triple. He came home to score on a balk. Michael Tolya, a 2-run home run deep into right field. DiGiorgio with the slightly open stance. A 1-2. Get a piece of it foul to stay alive. So Stephen Schock coming on as a closer today for the Kettleers. Garrett Gale worked the 7th, 1 out into the 8th. Pitching coach Jerry Weinstein reversing the roles as Schock had been the primary setup man, but now Gale bridging the gap. The 1-2 slice towards right field. That's down. Base hit to Giorgio. And Bourne with their leadoff man aboard here in the ninth.
All right, so a fighting chance here for the Braves. Top of the order coming up, so a dangerous spot, but there's no one you'd rather have out here than the big donkey himself. Stephen Schock has been so good this season, late in games with runners on base. When the Kets need him most, he rises to the occasion. And in this big divisional matchup, he's got to get an out.
4-2 Kettleers in the top of the ninth inning. Stephen Schock on, leadoff man aboard. Now Tyler Fitzgerald. First pitch to him. Dealt in, nice fastball at the belt for strike one. Fitzgerald 0 for 4 on the evening. 2 strikeouts. Darkness falling upon Lowell Park. Cloudy skies overhead. The 0-1. Ground ball through the hole on the left side with the infield playing at double play depth. And there's a second base hit to this inning here for Bourne. And there will be 2 on with nobody out for Anthony Prado.
All right, now things get dicey with a tying run aboard at first base, the leading run coming to the plate. Stephen Schock's got to be careful with his spots. Bourne has stranded a few runners today. They've actually out-hit the Kettleers 11-10. They haven't been able to convert opportunities like this, and the Kets have to shut them down here.
Kettleers with the corners playing in a sacrifice situation. 2 on, nobody out. Prado showing bunt, pulls it back as a slider runs outside for ball 1. The Kets by 2 here in inning number 9. Schock on for a save. And Garrett Wolforth is the catcher who comes out from behind home plate and signals to the infield for the defensive alignment. Brady Smith at third, Michael Tolya at first. The defenders playing in for the Kettleers on the grass. Salvatore and Wood at short and second respectively, playing close to second base. 2 on, the 1-0. Prado can't find it with a bunt. Good fastball on the outside corner, strike 1. 4-2, Kettleers with 10 hits today. Bourne out hitting Cotuit with 11 hits after the first 2 singling here in this inning. Prado the batter at the plate, looking for a spark. The 1-1 just off the plate with a fastball as Prado pulling back the bunt. He's ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Schock a long look in. With the mullet, he comes set at the belt. Looking back at second, now to the plate. The 2-1 bunted on the left side. Off the mound as Smith takes it at third. Slinging on to first, and Tolia doing the splits over there just to hang on for out number 1. Sacrifice bunt, Anthony Prado moving up the runners into scoring position. In a 2-run ball game. Runners on second and third. 1 out here in the ninth. And the number 3 batter in Jared Triolo will come to the plate.
Tolia, the key to that play. That's why you get a tall, lanky, athletic first baseman like Michael. Nearly doing the splits that time to get the important out. And this is juicy for Bourne. You've got their 2 best hitters coming up, Triolo and Brickhouse, with 2 runners in scoring position. Grab your popcorn, folks. Big donkey on the mound. It's going to be an exciting finish.
Here we go. Strap in with 1 out in the ninth. The Kettleers up 4-2. Mike Roberts just came out of the third base dugout to signal to his outfield. They play back and deep here late in this game as Jared Triolo comes to the plate. 3 for 4 on the day. All base hits. First pitch from Schock. Fastball on the outside corner. Strike 1. It's Fitzgerald at second base and DeGiorgio at third base. Cotuit infield at normal depth after the sacrifice bunt from Prado. Righty on righty as Schock comes set. The 0-1. Off the plate, ball 1.
Another factor is it's getting dark. I mean, it's coming on 8 o'clock, 7:46 right now.
Can Bourne maybe salvage a tie? A base hit would score 2. Braves in desperate need of a win. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Fooled him. Nice. Fastball over the heart of the plate, and Schock gets ahead in the count 1-2. Cotuit trying to secure their 3rd win in a row. and looking to make it a 3-game lead over Bourne in the Western Division standings for 4th place. A win that would almost take the Braves out of playoff contention for the moment. It would really take the wind out of their sails. The 1-2. Hit high in the air. Right center field. Ellis charging on, makes the catch. He'll rear back and not throw as DiGiorgio hustles home from third. Second out of the inning is an RBI sac fly from Jared Triolo. A 1-run ball game. One more out to make for Cotuit, and it will be the toughest of them all with Spencer Brickhouse coming to bat.
That one looks scary off the bat. If it curved over more towards the right, it would have dropped in the gap for a base hit and tie the ball game up. And this is a great matchup, a matchup of all-stars, and it looks like it won't happen at all. Maybe an intentional walk coming.
Intentional walk to Brickhouse as Garrett Wolforth will line up in the right-handed batter's box and issue the free pass to Spencer Brickhouse, the slugger from Eastern Carolina, who was the All-Star Games MVP last Sunday. Stephen Schock, an all-star in his own right, will allow him the free pass to an open first base. As Fitzgerald is the runner at second base after that sac fly. Third pitch of the intentional walk executed, and one more to go.
And of course, the fact that Brickhouse, one of the best hitters on the Cape, is at the plate, that puts the ribbon on top of the decision to go with the intentional walk as ball 4 comes in. But more than that, now you get a force at first, second, and third. So much more playable for this infield.
Mike Roberts, pitching coach Jerry Weinstein, trying to put the odds in their favor for their final out. 2 on with 2 outs. 4-3 our score. Cotuit in front. Stephen Schock looking for that last out against Lyle Lynn, the catcher who bats from the right side. First pitch, hit high in the air, deep drive, left center field. Ellis on the run, he makes the grab right before the fence, and the Kettleers by about 8 feet escape with a 4-3 home win.
All right, that one had me sweating. Looked off the bat to be a home run, stays in the yard. Nice play by Duke to track it down. And not only do the Kettleers beat the Braves, but they beat the darkness, barely squeezing this one in before it just became unplayable. A huge win for the Kettleers, starting to bury the Braves with the win now 6 points, 3 games up on Bourne. A huge win.
The Kettleers win 4-3 over Bourne, make it 3 in a row for the Kettleers as Ellis goes on the run to the alley in left center and is able to flag down a fly ball from Lyle Lynn right at the warning track if we had one here in Cotuit. And he makes the play for the final out, the 27th out, and Cotuit takes the victory as we'll come back and break it down next here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. So finally, the Cotuit Kettleers have won 3 ball games in a row, and they did it by the skin of their teeth today. 4-3, the victory over the Bourne Braves. 2 on with 2 outs in the last out of that ball game. Lyle Lynn on the first pitch that he saw jacked it deep to left center field, and Duke Ellis able to run down the ball right before the fence to make the final out of the ball game. Stephen Schock gets his first save of the year. Kettleers had offense early. They fizzled a little bit late. but that was just enough for a big-time victory.
Skin of their teeth, perfect way to say it. And it's almost poetic that you intentionally walk Spencer Brickhouse, and then the first pitch to Lyle in, I was sure it was a home run off the bat. I don't know about you, but I jumped in my seat. Looked to be gone, but Lowell Park contains it. Duke Ellis grabs it for the important third out, and Big Donkey gets actually his first save of the season for a guy who's been so good. A gritty win for the Kettleers. Not nearly as flashy as it was yesterday with the 15 runs scored in just 5 innings against Chatham. Just 4 runs, and it was kind of a typical frustrating day after that third inning. No runs in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th for the Kettleers. They were much quieter as Kyle Martin and Trey Vanderwide out of the bullpen for Bourne did a really nice job. But Michael Tolia's home run ended up making the difference. He's turning his bat around, and having a big bat in the lineup for the Kettleers like Tolia, if he can keep this power surge on, it's just incredible.
How about the darkness that might have played a factor, too? Crucial that Ellis was able to make that catch because it's pretty dark here at Lowell Park, and this game going nearly 3 hours with the first pitch at 5:02. We ramped up at 7:49, so a 2-hour, 47-minute ball game. Of course, in August, we'll move to the 4:30 first pitch time to try and combat the sun setting here in Cotuit. But the Kettleers pick up a big divisional win. They now are up in the standings by 3 games on Bourne, and 2 more to play against the Bravos later this week, home on Thursday and then at Doran Park on Sunday. So be on the lookout for those games. Those will be very pivotal in the playoff chase for the Western Division. So that early offense, you mentioned Tolia, Sam. How about Mike Salvatore, who had an RBI triple to start things off?
Salvi's been sneaky good, knocking in runs left and right. He has 10 on the season. That RBI triple was awesome. Not only did it drive in a run, but gave the Kettleers a little juice. Watching Salvatore come around second and just charge into third, definitely a highlight play, something to remember, something to cherish for Salvatore. And between him and Tolia, and then you know what else made the difference was the balk, because Salvatore ended up coming from third to home on a balk call from the starter for Borne and Zachary Peak. So in a 1-run ball game, the balk really makes the difference.
It really was. We forget about that because that was sort of right under our nose. It just happened in the blink of an eye, and right after that Salvatore triple, he's able to come home on a big balk call that ends up being the difference.
And remember, it was kind of like Mike Roberts just willed him home. He was like, yeah, that was a balk. Go home, go home. And then the home plate umpire, Larry Rosenberg, kind of conceded. So Mike Roberts with the assist on the game-winning run.
Now Cotuit finally generating momentum, and they're doing it at the right time. 3 wins in a row, 4 wins in their last 5 games. Next up tomorrow at Brewster, taking on the Brewster Whitecaps for just the 3rd time this season. They'll face Brewster at home on Saturday as well. So a little home and home as the Kettleers will wrap up their Eastern Division regular season series, also taking on Orleans on Friday. Going to be an interesting matchup against the Whitecaps, who have found a little fire as of late and gotten themselves back into playoff contention, only down by 3 points. Check that, 2 points to the Orleans Firebirds, just a game back for 4th in the East. So that's going to be a big game tomorrow, and the Kettleers will need to be businesslike if they want to continue this good stretch.
You make a fine point on the Brewster power surge, and the Kettleers have to take them seriously. I mean, Brewster did beat the Kettleers back in June on a walk-off winner, but it's nice for the Kettleers, who are trying to put together this run down the stretch. They've won 3 in a row, and including today, their next 6 games against teams under 500 between Bourne. You get 2 more against Bourne, 2 against Brewster, and then 1 against Orleans, who's also near the gutter of the East at 12-22-1, and that's a team the Kettleers have owned this season with 3 wins against the Firebirds. So it's kind of nice that right when you get your 3-game win streak for the first time, you follow that up with 5 consecutive games against last place teams or teams who are just under 500. So this is a real chance for the Kettleers to generate momentum heading into the stretch run and then hopefully into the playoffs.
Tomorrow's game at Brewster, a 5 p.m. first pitch. We can't wait for you to join us then, as it will be the Kettleers and the Whitecaps here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We'll start the broadcast 10 minutes before first pitch at 4:50, and then we'll take you home from there with live play-by-play from Stony Brook. It'll be the second time that Cotuit goes back there, and of course looking for a little revenge after losing one late, giving up 2 runs in the 9th for a 5-4 defeat back at the end of June. The final here at Lowell Park, Cotuit 4 runs on 10 hits, no errors as Bourne loses with 3 runs on 11 hits and no errors. Winning pitcher today, Zane Collins, who gets his first win of the year. He improves to 1-0. The losing pitcher, Zachary, who gets his first decision of the year, a loss. He's now 0-1, and the save, his first of the season, Steven Schock, big donkey, coming on for the final 5 outs of this one, doing a fantastic job, as always, hanging on at the end, giving up just 1 run in the 9th, as the Kettleers are able to take out a 4-3 victory here at home. For our entire Kettleers media team, Bailey Hewson, who's driving the ship and going to land us here as our stand-in director, Mason Orodisky, our 3rd member of the broadcast crew, and of course our director and executive producer, Martha Johnston, and our entire Kettleers media team. Sam Brief, my partner in crime. I'm Sam Niederman saying see you tomorrow from Brewster as the Kettleers take the win 4-3.